Chapter 4886. This Haifeng was quite powerful. As soon as he arrived, many people came up to greet him warmly. One could imagine that he was quite powerful among these brothers. No wonder he held such a small banquet. It's rare for everyone to come here today. Don't stand on ceremony. Eat and drink well. There will be a small activity later. I believe everyone will enjoy it. Eat. Of course, no one would have any thoughts about it. However, the small activity later would be different. They clearly understood what Xiao Xiao was trying to say. After all, this big brother was very different. Whoever treated his big brother as an ordinary person would definitely be in big trouble. It seems that my big brother must have found some powerful external experts and is preparing to show off his skills. In this way, he can suppress everyone. When that time comes, no one will dare to fight against him. Hai Wuxin said in a low voice. He had a good understanding of his big brother. Just now, he saw the two black-robed men beside his big brother. These two black-robed men were very conspicuous in their black robes. It was hard not to notice them. Lin Fei also laughed. Your big brother is really powerful. Compared to him, you guys are really far behind. Only these two black-robed men are quite powerful. Most importantly, they are not humans but puppets. Hai Wuxin was slightly stunned. His pupils shrank. He knew what puppets they were. My big brother actually got these puppets. It seems that he has obtained support from someone again. Of course, Lin Fei could tell that they were puppets. These puppets were different from other puppets. They were refined by a living expert. It could be said that they were not much different from humans. However, they were puppets. They were immortal, impervious to swords and spears. They had strong defense and strong attack power. They were very powerful. In Lin Fei's opinion, even if 8 to 10 8-star war gods attacked these two puppets, it would be useless. They couldn't stop them at all. These two puppets were so powerful. This made Lin Fei even more excited. He guessed that the activity later would be related to these two puppets. It seems that everyone is destined to be disappointed this time. Hai Wuxin wasn't too disappointed. After all, he had come on this trip to bring his senior along. As long as senior can obtain the power of faith, there won't be a problem. As for the rest, he really didn't care much about it. He didn't really care about it. No one ate much. Big brother, I heard that you have a small activity later. I wonder what kind of activity it is. Let us broaden our horizons. A tall man spoke up. He was one of the siblings. So it's Helen. It seems like you're quite interested in this. Since everyone wants to know, I'll talk to everyone. Haifeng laughed. Everyone stopped and wanted to hear what this big brother had to say. I've just found 2 helpers from outside. I want everyone to help me test their strength. If anyone can defeat them, I'll give everyone a strand of the sea god's bloodline for free. I wonder if everyone is interested. As soon as the words sea god's bloodline came out, everyone's expressions clearly changed. Even Hai Wuxin spoke in a low voice. Senior, this sea god's bloodline is unique to our sea race. I heard that the higher the refinement, the higher the compatibility with the sea. In the end, the more powerful the power of the sea, the stronger it will be. In the end, I heard that it can reach the level of immortality. As long as it's in the sea, no one can kill it. With such an item, it was no wonder that everyone was so energetic. Big brother, you're not lying to us. It really has the sea god's bloodline. You're really generous. I heard that the sea god's bloodline is getting harder and harder to find. I didn't expect Big Brother to be so awesome. You can even get it. It just so happens that I've also brought my subordinates today. I can give it a try. Big Brother, don't be offended. A ball of blood appeared on Haifeng's hand. This ball of blood was golden and full of a noble aura. As soon as he took it out, everyone's expression changed again. This was the genuine sea god's bloodline. They didn't expect it to be so big. If they refined it, it would greatly improve their strength. I never lie. If there's something good, I definitely have to share it with everyone. Haifeng smiled. If everyone is not interested in these things, of course, you can also tell me some things that you are interested in. As long as it's not too precious, I'll be happy to take it out to satisfy everyone. Taking this out would be very attractive to everyone. Big brother, then I'll go first. Immediately, someone jumped out. This won't do, we have to change places. Everyone followed their big brother to the training field at the back. This was a very large training field. As the formation was activated, a light barrier was formed. The two puppets instantly rushed in. One of them stood at the side. The other one just stood there quietly. I got these two puppets. No matter which one it is, as long as you can defeat them or withstand 10 moves from them, it will naturally be your win. When everyone heard the word puppet, they were a little surprised. After all, puppets were still very destructive. However, they still believed that they could defeat these puppets and obtain the sea god's bloodline. This way, it would be of great help to increase their strength. Big Brother had made a lot of contributions this time. Without saying a word, one of them came up. Naturally, it was these experts that came up. The realm of war gods. It would be embarrassing to come here today without a war god by their side. The one who just came up was a 5-star war god. He was quite strong, and his first move was a thunderous strike. However, this puppet warrior turned into a black fog and instantly defeated him. There was no trace of it at all. In an instant, everyone felt that these puppets were different. They could actually use such a method. After this 5-star war god was defeated, another war god immediately came in. However, each time they couldn't block a single attack from these puppet warriors. They either released the black fog or instantly used a strange divine ability. It was truly extraordinary. This made everyone's expression even more unsightly. It seemed that the sea god's bloodline wouldn't be so easy to obtain. If it was anything else, it would be fine. However, these puppets really weren't that easy to deal with. Lin Fei saw everything clearly from the side. His brothers and sisters probably had no chance. They couldn't defeat these puppets at all. Even if 10 of them went up, they wouldn't be able to do anything. Those who hadn't made a move knew that if they really did, they probably wouldn't have any chance of winning. Chapter 4887. These two puppets were rather powerful. Just one of them was enough to defeat most of the war gods. Their injuries weren't light, but they weren't heavy either. However, it also made everyone realize that the puppet was definitely showing mercy. This puppet is too hard to deal with. It's indeed quite hard to deal with. I was almost done for just now. With such a puppet, I'm afraid Big Brother won't be able to defeat it. This time he took all the benefits in front of Father. If I had known this would happen, I wouldn't have come today. It would have been a wasted trip. No matter to any of the brothers and sisters, they were really at a disadvantage this time. Who would have thought that Big Brother would actually find 2 such powerful puppets? They didn't know where these 2 puppets came from. In any case, they couldn't deal with them. Even if they went to look for external help now, they might not be a match for these 2 puppets. This really made them feel helpless. At this moment, Haifeng was smiling more than anyone else. There was a faint smile on his lips, and he seemed quite proud of himself. He brought these 2 puppets over to let everyone know that no one could compete with him this time. Is there any brother or sister who is prepared to come up and give it a try? Don't stand on ceremony. I have quite a lot of sea god's bloodline and other things here. Don't miss this opportunity. Even though Haifeng's things were quite attractive, everyone present knew that the strength of these external help experts really couldn't compare to these 2 puppets. Haifeng had also achieved his goal this time. Big Brother, I'm prepared to give it a try. I heard that you have everything here. Is that true? I'm not interested in this sea god's bloodline. At this moment, Hai Wuxin took a step forward and looked at Big Brother. Of course, Haifeng knew about Hai Wuxin. He was a rather high-profile guy. He didn't expect this guy to be so unhurried. He was probably a little embarrassed. This was good too. Since he was defeated, he would let him know that no one was a match for him this time. I wonder if little brother is interested in this sea god's bloodline? If so, feel free to tell me what you are interested in. Big brother has quite a lot of things here. When Hai Wuxin stood up, the other brothers and sisters were a little surprised. They had seen Hai Wuxin before. He was one of the more troublesome ones among the brothers. Who would have thought that he would only make his move now? Sure enough, he was very calculative. Big bro, do you have any faith power here? I've been researching this faith power recently and I've gained some insights. It's a pity I don't have enough of it. The power of faith? Everyone was stunned. One must know that the power of faith was indeed something of little value. He did not expect that Hai Wuxin would actually want the power of faith. It was quite unexpected. I thought it was something. It's actually the power of faith. I have it, and I've collected quite a lot of it. As long as you can defeat my puppet, the power of faith won't be a problem. Hai Feng laughed heartily and casually took out a lump of something. Jin Guang smiled brightly. I still have quite a few lumps of this power of faith. As long as you can defeat the puppet, I can give them to you. Anyway, it's useless to keep them, so you have to work hard. Lin Fei just looked at it quietly. Of course, he could see it clearly. This was the power of faith. It was really like what Hai Wuxin said. His big brother really had the power of faith. If he could get his hands on this power of faith, then this trip would not be in vain. Lin Fei was quite satisfied. Hai Wuxin laughed. Then I won't stand on ceremony. It's not easy to come across this power of faith. Big bro, you're so polite. Lin Fei walked out expressionlessly and directly entered the battlefield. As soon as he entered, the puppet made its move. It turned into a huge black fog and rolled over. Everyone had seen such a method before, but they really couldn't think of a way to break it. They also didn't think that this guy would have the ability to break the puppet's attack. Whoosh! The void collapsed in an instant. Wave after wave of energy crashed into the black mist. Just like that, the black fog was isolated. The black fog instantly turned into the shape of a puppet. At this moment, Lin Fei took a step forward and punched the puppet. This step was really fast. No one could make it in time. The puppet was sent flying by the punch. Kacha-kacha! Cracks instantly spread all over its body. The entire puppet was like a work of art. It seemed like it would break into pieces with a light touch. Big bro, this subordinate of mine is not bad. It's not easy to find him. He's not good in other aspects, but he's pretty strong. I didn't expect Big bro's puppet to be so weak. Hai Wuxin laughed. Of course. He knew that his senior was strong. Even he wasn't a match for him, let alone these puppets. Hai Feng's expression did change a little. He naturally knew how strong the puppet was. He didn't expect that the expert that his little brother found would have some ability. He could actually cause cracks with a punch. Just as the puppet was about to retreat, another figure appeared and punched out again. The puppet was sent flying again. Then another punch. 3 punches in a row. With a bang, the puppet turned into pieces on the ground. Big bro, I'm really sorry. My subordinate was a little reckless. He broke your puppet. I'm really sorry. I don't know where you bought it. Let me know. I'll buy you another one. In such a short time, a puppet was destroyed just like that. Not only was everyone shocked, but even Hai Feng's heart was bleeding. This was a puppet that he had gone through a lot of trouble to get. In the end, it was finished just like that. It's okay, it's okay. It's just a puppet. It's nothing. I said that if I lose, I'll give you the power of faith. Take it. The other brothers and sisters smiled even more brightly at this moment. Just now, their faces were bitter. Now, all of them were smiling brightly. No one wanted Big Bro to lose more than them. As expected, Hai Wuxin's little brother was really awesome. With just a single move, he had caused his big brother to lose a puppet. If such a scene were to happen again, it would really be quite satisfying. The power of faith flew over. It was kept by Hai Wuxin. Big bro, I think you wouldn't mind sending the second one up quickly, right? One puppet was enough to make Haifeng's heart ache. If the second puppet was broken, although the possibility was low, Haifeng didn't dare to take the risk. But in front of his brothers and sisters, if he really didn't go, wouldn't it mean that he was afraid of Hai Wuxin? Chapter 4888. One puppet was already in such a state. If another one appeared, he might not be able to handle it. He braced himself and went forward. Otherwise, he would probably be laughed at. Today, he originally wanted to show his strength. These two puppets were just a part of his strength. It didn't matter if they were destroyed. However, the helper that Hai Wuxin found was quite powerful. He was actually very strong without any warning. He could also see that the other party's strength was purely in close combat and physical strength. It was really difficult to find such an expert. He really didn't know where he got it from. It's just a puppet. If it's broken, it can only be said that it's useless. At most, I can just find another one. Don't feel sorry for me. Haifeng laughed as if he didn't care about the puppet at all. However, Hai Wuxin had noticed a slight change in the puppet. This puppet was still quite valuable. The second puppet moved again. This time, it turned into a black fog as usual. However, when it turned into the black fog, a figure instantly appeared behind it. It turned into a stream of light as if it was going to penetrate the opponent's body like a spiral. This method was indeed quite powerful, and people couldn't defend against it. Many people broke out in a cold sweat. What a terrifying move! The black shadow instantly attacked the opponent's back. However, after the attack hit the opponent's back, it didn't continue. Instead, the opponent turned around and punched the puppet directly. Following that, his figure flashed. Bang, 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 bang. After a series of sounds, the puppet was instantly covered in cracks. Then, it turned into fragments all over the ground. Haifeng's pupils shrank slightly. Of course, he knew how powerful the attack just now was. It was a killing move that specialized in penetrating the physical body. In the end, this guy was actually more powerful than he thought. His physical body was very strong, but he didn't suffer any damage. This younger brother of his was quite capable. He had found such an expert. This was not a small problem. Big brother, I'm really sorry. I broke your puppet again. If I knew this would happen, I wouldn't have let the puppet fight. This way, your puppet will be gone. What a pity. Hai Wuxin spoke seriously. He could feel that many of his brothers and sisters were looking at him with gazes filled with worship. This was also a chance for him to hold his head high. Big brother, you're just unlucky this time. If Senior wants this faith power, then I can only jump out. It's fine. Aren't they just two puppets? If it's gone, then it's gone. I'll give you the power of faith. Anyway, we should keep the goodies to ourselves. I know that better than anyone else. Everyone burst into laughter. Big brother was pretending not to be angry. His heart was probably bleeding. A puppet like this was worth a lot. Perhaps it was even obtained from somewhere. In the end, both of them were damaged. It was a huge loss, but he couldn't get angry. After all, this was a small banquet hosted by his big brother. Everyone was having fun. Now they were indeed having fun. Big brother, why don't we just let it go? Hai Wuxin smiled and said, At this time, how could Haifeng be willing? This brat destroyed two of his puppets? What if he didn't heavily injure him? At that time, it would be an invisible danger. Fortunately, he was able to use two puppets to test Hai Wuxin. Did he find a powerful expert? What if that day really came? He would definitely be caught off guard. This Hai Wuxin, he really wasn't anything. Haifeng was angry, but he was more or less relieved in his heart. In any case, it was a foresight. He wanted to cripple this guy first. At the same time, he sent a ball of faith power over. Another big ball fell into Hai Wuxin's hands. Thank you for the power of faith, big brother. I think it's better to end it like this. Hai Wuxin suddenly shouted at Lin Fei, You can come out now. How could Haifeng bear to let him out? After all, the other party was so powerful. What if they really let him out? It wouldn't be so easy to make a move next time. Maybe it would be a strong enemy. Now that he found one and dealt with the other, it couldn't be any better. Big brother, you've already destroyed 2 puppets. Let's forget about it. I already have enough power of faith. Haifeng understood what he meant. His brother didn't intend to play anymore. That wouldn't do. Wait. It wasn't easy for you to come here. I have to play to my heart's content. Isn't it just the power of faith? I can take out some more. This much should be enough, right? After all, you study the power of faith. How can you do it without the power of faith? Although there were 2 balls just now, it digested quite quickly. Of course, Haifeng wasn't happy. He hurriedly took out some power of faith. More than before. Hai Wuxin glanced at the power of faith. Indeed, he revealed his greedy thoughts. However, he quickly put them away. I think it's better to forget it. I already have enough power of faith. Haifeng wanted to curse in his heart. His brother really wanted it again and again. But he felt that the power of faith wasn't enough. What a bastard. All the power of faith. Let's play another round? How about it? The more it was like this, the more Haifeng believed that although this guy was strong, he probably used some secret method. That was why Hai Wuxin was so anxious to call him down. If he didn't do it well, he might lose. Lin Fei had to admire Hai Wuxin. He was indeed quite resourceful. He made his big brother take out so much power of faith with just a little bit of effort. So much power of faith was much more than the 2 puppets he had defeated just now. Maybe with the help of this power of faith, he could break through to the 50th level. This power of faith was very attractive to Lin Fei. He was standing expressionlessly. There were no emotional fluctuations. I have to ask my men about this. Otherwise, I can't do it. Hai Wuxin's question was different from other people's. Can we play another round? If you can, you will be greatly rewarded. Choose for yourself. Wasn't he asking the other party to fight to the end? Haifeng was overjoyed. His brother was still a little inexperienced. He was tempted by the power of faith that he took out. It was indeed cheap. However, he didn't think too much about it. I've decided to play another round, but this will be the last one. The more it was like this, the more Haifeng believed one thing. This guy must have used a secret method. That was why he said such words. He probably wouldn't be able to hold on for this round. Big Mountain, go up and follow him. Remember, you must show mercy. Yes, I will definitely show mercy. I'm really not strong. A guy as burly as a mountain flew out. Chapter 4889. As soon as this burly guy came up, everyone realized that he was definitely a powerful existence. They didn't know if Hai Wuxin's subordinate could handle him. Although they hadn't fought before, they could more or less see that he was powerful. He was definitely powerful, but they didn't know how strong he was. As soon as the guy called Mountain entered, he instantly transformed into his original form. It turned out to be a dark, liquid-like existence. It made people feel very different. In an instant, it turned into a ball and directly wrapped around the opponent. This action was very fast. It was so fast that no one could react. Some people on the scene had already exclaimed, "This is the legendary Devourer Sea Beast. I heard that when it cultivates to a very high level, it can even swallow the sky. No way, this is the Devourer. I've heard of its existence before, but I didn't expect it to really exist. Doesn't that mean that ordinary people can't handle this guy's power? The guy inside is really unlucky." As soon as this guy transformed into his original form, he instantly wrapped the entire void. It was as if he had let out a satisfied burp and directly swallowed it. This kind of fighting style was really beyond everyone's expectations. It was also beyond Hai Wuxin's expectations. However, he was very confident in the senior. Even if there was a sea beast like the Devourer, he still wouldn't have any advantage. Big Brother is indeed Big Brother. He can even find such a sea beast like the Devourer. If he is trained, he will definitely become an indomitable helper in the future. Hai Wuxin's expression also changed slightly. Hai Feng didn't hear the meaning behind it. He just felt that the other party was envious. After all, he had spent a lot of money to find this devourer. Fortunately, everything went as he expected. The devourer was still very powerful. If it was any other time, Hai Feng certainly wouldn't send Mountain. However, the guy in front of him was too strong. Such an existence would definitely affect him. Therefore, he might as well subdue this guy first. Anyway, he didn't prepare such a trump card. Besides the devourer, he still had another one. This guy doesn't have much combat power. I'll eat him in one bite. I'll be able to digest him completely in a day or two. Big Mountain also returned to his human form, patting his stomach with a look of enjoyment. Hai Wuxin's expression changed slightly, which made Hai Feng even happier. I'm sorry, Big Mountain's appetite is too good. I didn't expect him to use his main body mystique when I asked him to attack just now. I'm really sorry. Hai Feng was overjoyed to have swallowed this guy in one gulp, and the faces of the other brothers and sisters also sank. The situation wasn't looking good. He didn't expect one of them to be killed just like that. They wanted to see their big brother's sorry state. There was a loud bang. The mountain, who had just taken a step forward, instantly turned into a pool of blood that scattered all over the ground. Fortunately, the surrounding people were isolated by the array formation, so they were naturally not affected. Hai Feng's face instantly darkened. His devourer was actually dead. He had paid a huge price to get it, but now it was killed in front of his eyes. A figure walked out. Such a mystique is powerful, but it's still far from it. Lin Fei, who was dressed in black, said faintly. This time, everyone couldn't stay calm, even Hai Feng. His devourer was killed by this person, just like that. Big Mountain couldn't even withstand it. What was going on? Big brother. I'm sorry, I didn't expect my subordinate to be so strong. It seems like you didn't nurture your devourer well. I'll be taking these things away. Hai Wuxin smiled. He directly took away all the power of faith. Hai Feng didn't say anything, and could only let the other party take away all the things. Big brother, I still have something to do today, so I'll be leaving first. If there's such a good thing in the future, you can inform me. I'll definitely come. Hai Feng opened his mouth and let Hai Wuxin leave just like that. After Hai Wuxin left, the others also found reasons to leave. In the blink of an eye, this place was empty. Hai Feng's face turned even uglier. The surrounding people all knelt on the ground. They could feel the master's anger. Arrange 2 assassins for me. I must finish this person tonight. He destroyed my 2 puppets and my devourer. I'm irreconcilable with him. Those were Hai Feng's 2 trump cards. But now his trump card was destroyed just like that. How could he sit still? He definitely couldn't sit still. Lin Fei and Hai Wuxin returned to the mansion just like that. Hai Wuxin also took out all the power of faith. My big brother is probably going to vomit blood this time. According to his character, I'm afraid he'll find someone to take revenge on Senior tonight. By now, Lin Fei had already collected all the power of faith. It was indeed a huge number. Being an assassin depends on who you're using it on. For me, it's useless. You can just pretend that nothing happened. Lin Fei returned to his room. Hai Wuxin was very happy. At least this time, he could let his big brother have a good time. He was afraid that his influence among his brothers and sisters had increased a lot. Although it was all given by Senior, it was still beneficial to him. Those who didn't know would really think that he found a pretty good expert. Of course, the most important thing was to hit his big brother. That was the most important thing. Who didn't know what his big brother was thinking tonight? He just wanted to give everyone a good lesson. In the end, before the lesson was finished, he was taught a lesson by himself. He was happy. Hai Wuxin even opened a bottle of good wine. He drank more than half of it. If he wasn't afraid of Senior, he would really want to invite Senior for a drink. Staying in the Sea Clan was indeed the right choice. I didn't expect to receive the power of faith so quickly. This power of faith should be enough for me to reach the 50th level. Lin Fei directly began to level up. In fact, it was really as Lin Fei expected. He directly rose to the 49th level. He was still a little bit away from the 50th level, although he was more or less a little disappointed. At least he had risen by 4 levels. His big brother, Hai Wuxin, still contributed a lot to him. What a pity it's still a little bit away. If only I had a little more power of faith. It seems that I can only go for the treasury. Chapter 4890. To be able to break through to such a realm in one go, Lin Fei was quite satisfied. At the very least, his physical body was much stronger. His strength had become much thicker. He really had to thank that Haifeng. This guy had contributed a lot, but he didn't know when he would contribute again. He probably wished that he could kill him now. After all, he destroyed 2 of his puppets and destroyed the heaven-devouring mountain. He definitely suffered a huge loss. Not everyone could sit still. That night, just as Hai Wuxin had said, there were indeed people coming. 2 assassins had come. These 2 assassins were quite powerful. As soon as they arrived, they launched a fierce attack. However, as soon as they got close to Lin Fei, they were quickly killed by Lin Fei. Now, no matter how strong his physical body was, Lin Fei's speed was really strong. With just a thought, he broke through their bodies. They didn't even have the ability to resist and were turned to dust. Lin Fei casually dealt with the 2 of them like nothing had happened. But to Haifeng, this wasn't good news. He had failed again. What was going on? He couldn't believe it. Why did he fail again? Was that fellow so hard to deal with? Or did Hai Wuxin arrange for people to lay a trap? He miscalculated again. If he knew that this would happen, he wouldn't have acted so quickly from the start. In the end, he suffered a huge loss. It seemed like he could only wait for the last day. Only then would he be able to take revenge. At the same time, he remembered Hai Wuxin. He didn't expect that he would be schemed against. If he knew that this would happen, he would have been more careful. Now, he didn't even have the chance to regret. In the blink of an eye, a few days passed. These few days, some people were quite unhappy. That person was Haifeng. He suffered a huge loss in front of his brothers and sisters. Even though they didn't know whether or not he arranged for people to take revenge, they all knew what their big brother's temper was. He definitely arranged for people to take revenge. They probably suffered a huge loss. From the beginning to the end, he had suffered a great loss. Early morning, everyone was heading towards the main hall. This hall was the gathering place for today. All the brothers and sisters had come. This was an event that belonged to them. As soon as they arrived, they were all looking for Hai Wuxin. They all knew that Hai Wuxin had caused their big brother to suffer a huge loss this time. Unfortunately, when they arrived, Hai Wuxin hadn't arrived yet. When Hai Wuxin arrived, everyone came up to congratulate him. At the very least, they were familiar with him. Of course, they also saw the man in black beside Hai Wuxin. Back then, it was this black-clothed man who made Big Brother suffer a great loss. He didn't expect that he would bring it here again today. It seemed like today was destined to be a fierce battle. First place was out of the question, but the other positions could still be considered. Not long after, Haifeng also had a smile on his face. As soon as he saw Hai Wuxin and the black-clothed man, his expression immediately turned ugly. It was these 2 guys who caused him to lose 2 more killers. Although 2 assassins weren't a big deal, the thought of it made him feel quite unhappy. The change in his expression disappeared in the blink of an eye. He cheerfully greeted everyone. Those who didn't know would think that nothing had happened. Only they themselves knew that their big brother had really suffered a great loss. It was quite rare to see someone like this now. Big brother, you seem to have had a good rest these days. Maybe you can get first place today. That's really worth celebrating. The more Haifeng didn't want to see Hai Wuxin. He didn't expect that Hai Wuxin would take the initiative to come up. For a moment, everyone looked over. They had to admit it. In Hai Wuxin's opinion, at least not many people could fight against this big brother. Now their big brother had suffered a lot. Didn't they see that he had even lost 2 puppet warriors? If they hadn't seen it with their own eyes, they really wouldn't have believed it. Very good. I have been resting recently, and it's been quite good. It seems that you are very confident this time. Then we can have a good fight. I haven't fought with Big Brother for a long time. I hope we can have a good time this time. By the way, Big Brother, I don't know if you still have this power of faith. I'm almost done studying it. If you do, how about giving me some? After all, you are my big brother. It's useless to keep it. Don't you think so? Haifeng didn't have the power of faith. His expression was a little ugly. Why did he mention this? When the power of faith was mentioned, he thought of the 2 puppets and the mountain. It cost him a lot to make them, but they turned into ashes just like that. It was all because of this guy. Big Brother doesn't have the power of faith, but I do. I really have some. I have some too. The other brothers and sisters enthusiastically brought the power of faith. Although it wasn't much, it added up. Even Lin Fei was a little surprised. These brothers and sisters of the ocean race were really quite rich. They even had the power of faith. Although it wasn't much, when added together, there was a chance of breaking through to the 50th level. Brothers and sisters are the best. You all know that I need this power of faith. I won't stand on ceremony then. Hai Wuxin was very happy to be able to receive the power of faith. The more the better. It didn't matter how much he received. The more the better. When the time came, Senior would be happy and he would be happy. At the very least, the power in his body wouldn't explode with a bang. The feeling of dying at any moment was really, really bad. All the power of faith was collected and stored away. When no one saw it, he handed it to Lin Fei. Lin Fei casually kept it, and in the blink of an eye, it turned into honor points. However, this time he didn't upgrade it. He was prepared to wait a little longer. If he accumulated some more power of faith, he should be able to break through to the 50th level. Just thinking about it was shocking. The 50th level infinite God body. Everyone would definitely be shocked and amazed. The Sea God King is here. The ocean race in the past only had one name, which was the Sea God. However, only the first generation Sea God was the real Sea God. There were strong and weak sea gods among the later ones. Although they could use the power of the ocean race with the help of treasures, they were far inferior to the real Sea God. Even so, the human experts didn't dare to easily step into the ocean race. If they fought, the difference would be huge. Chapter 4891. The arrival of the Sea God instantly made everyone feel a sense of pressure. This was a supreme expert. Even Lin Fei could sense the aura of a supreme expert from him. This was the strongest expert he had ever seen. Even the great Tang Emperor seemed to be lacking compared to him. It was said that as long as the Sea God did not leave the sea, he would be invincible. In other words, he could be considered an invincible war god. An invincible war god like him, even though he had the word fake in front, was still a true invincible war god. This was the reason why the human race did not dare to attack. Unless an invincible war god came one day, then he would be a fake. With the help of other war gods, they would be able to contend against the Sea God King. Otherwise, no one would be able to defeat the Sea God King. The Sea God's King's gaze swept across the crowd. Everyone was swept by his gaze. Lin Fei had already sealed up his physical body long ago. Aside from himself, no one could see through him with just a thought. This was where his strength lay. The Sea God King swept his gaze around and walked to his seat. He sat down. As he sat down, his aura was like a mountain, able to topple mountains and overturn seas. Even the surrounding void was faintly trembling. Powerful, powerful, powerful. I'm very happy that all of you could come. You didn't disappoint me. Some of you have gotten stronger, and some of you have done very well. That's why I organized this small event. Let's all celebrate together. It's been a long time since we've gathered together like this. The Sea God King spoke unhurriedly. However, There was a lot of meaning in these few sentences. At the very least, everyone was a little surprised when they heard it. How can we not listen to Imperial Father? This child will come even if it's 1,000 mountains and 10,000 rivers. Big brother Haifeng immediately said. The other brothers and sisters cursed this ass-kisser in their hearts. However, all of them started to agree with him. Who didn't want to show their face in front of Imperial Father? Originally, he still had a chance this time around. However, with his big brother Haifeng, the situation was completely different. If they wanted to perform well, it would probably be quite a headache. All right, let's cut to the chase. Today, I'll let all of you have a good workout. Whoosh! A grotto heaven world appeared just like that. This grotto heaven world was not big, and there was actually an island inside. So. These brothers and sisters were directly led inside. Father has left a reputation token on this island. Whoever grabs the most reputation tokens and accumulates to the first place will be able to enter the treasury and take 3 treasures. The second place will be able to take 2, the third place will be able to take 1, and the 4th to 10th place will only be able to take 1 pill to improve their strength. Everyone instantly became excited. So. Rays of light flew in from the outside and landed on the island. In the blink of an eye, it disappeared completely. Those who didn't have sharp eyes wouldn't be able to catch it at all. Remember, don't overdo it. If anyone is cruel and merciless, I will cripple him on the spot. The voice was neither light nor heavy, but it was filled with the might of thunder. Everyone knew that. If they were to really get into a life-threatening situation, they would definitely lose their lives. Don't doubt Father's words. Father's words carry enormous weight, and no one would dare to underestimate him. Lin Fei was also sent to a different place. He didn't expect this grotto heaven world to be so much stronger than he had imagined. It was extremely sturdy. In fact, Lin Fei could even feel a hint of danger in here. A figure actually came over just like that. It turned out that there were actually beasts on this island. This beast wasn't weak either. It was actually at the level of a heavenly god full circle, and it pounced straight at Lin Fan. Lin Fei punched through the beast. Another demonic beast came over. Unbeknownst to him, Lin Fei's surroundings had already been filled with demonic beasts. Some of these beasts were strong, and some were weak. Some of them were even at the level of a war god. Lin Fei knew that this reputation token wasn't easy to get. This ocean god was quite interesting. He actually set up such a test. Not only did he need to be strong, but he also needed to team up. Lin Fei initially thought that it would be a one-on-one spar, but now it seemed like it was going to be a huge battle. He just didn't know where Hai Wuxin had run off to. He had to find Hai Wuxin. It was fine if his performance was dazzling, but at least Hai Wuxin had to be by his side. If Hai Wuxin was chased away, it would be really troublesome. Lin Fei pounced over without using the power of the void. Otherwise, he would be able to kill all these beasts in an instant. What he needed to do now was to kill these beasts first. He had to create a path of blood first. As he was killing, his eyes suddenly lit up. Lin Fei actually saw a reputation token on a tree in front of him. He didn't expect this reputation token to appear just like that. He grabbed it casually. This reputation token actually contained honor points that surprised Lin Fei. And this reputation token was actually refined using the power of faith. At this moment, Lin Fei was smiling so widely that his eyes were about to squint. This was simply an unexpected surprise. This ocean god really had a lot of good stuff. It seemed like this time if Hai Wuxin got the top 3, first place, he would be able to pick the power of faith. There was probably a lot of power of faith inside. Even if he didn't have these reputation tokens, it wouldn't matter. It would be a huge gain. Lin Fei casually looked at the record on the reputation token. It was actually 100. So this was a reputation token with 100 points. Lin Fei also understood one thing. If he wanted to stand out and take first place, the more reputation tokens he accumulated, the better. He just didn't know what the largest reputation token was. Lin Fei subconsciously felt that his reputation token should be the largest. 100 reputation points was really not a small amount. Lin Fei directly killed a path of blood and began to sense Hai Wuxin's location. After all, he had left a power seed behind. Others might not be able to find it immediately, but Lin Fei was indeed able to find Hai Wuxin easily. Oh no, he should be on the other side. Good fella, he ran quite far. I'm in the east and he's in the west. Luckily, I'm fast. Finally finding traces of Hai Wuxin made Lin Fei heave a sigh of relief. Otherwise, he would have been quite worried. Without Hai Wuxin, everything would have to be pushed aside. Chapter 4892. Hai Wuxin's luck wasn't very good at this time. As soon as he came over, he was surrounded by a group of powerful beasts. This was an 8-clawed beast. The power of a single whisker was extremely strong, equivalent to a wargid's attack. If it was just one, it would have been fine. But now, there were over 100 of them, trapping Hai Wuxin within. Not to mention the other beasts outside. If that was the case, Hai Wuxin would more or less be able to struggle out. He was a war god after all. But while he was struggling, another group of people came over. When this group of people came over and saw Hai Wuxin, they couldn't help but laugh out loud. My good little brother, looks like our luck is pretty good. We met so quickly. But I don't know where that powerful expert of yours is. I really want to spar with him again. Big brother Haifeng came. Other than that, a group of beasts followed behind him. I'm quite sorry. We brought a lot of beasts along the way. Now we can only rely on you to help share the burden. Even though Haifeng wanted to cripple his little brother at this time, he didn't even manage to snatch the prestige token. Naturally, he couldn't do anything about it. Fortunately, he brought a group of beasts over. These were all quite powerful. This time, they instantly used their treasures, disappeared. Therefore, these beasts that came over had their eyes on Hai Wuxin. Hai Wuxin didn't know how many times he cursed in his heart. He really was his good big brother. This was definitely hitting him when he was down. Just this 8-clawed beast alone was enough for him to suffer. Not to mention that there were beasts that weren't inferior to the 8-clawed beast. If that was the case, he would definitely be in big trouble. As for where that senior was, he didn't know. But the only thing he knew was that the senior would definitely come to save him. And what he had to do now was to persevere and persevere. It was easy to say, but it wasn't easy to do. After all, the 8-clawed attack was a group attack. The densely packed attacks made it hard for him to defend. Even if he had a treasure, it would be difficult to block it, not to mention these beasts. This caused Hai Wuxin to be battered and exhausted. He had suffered a blow here and a blow there. In a short period of time, his body had been left with huge scars. He was in despair. Senior, when will you come? If I don't come over, I'll be completely annihilated. Die under the hands of these demonic beasts. At that time, even the Emperor Father would not say anything. In his eyes, he was at most a piece of trash. Trash was naturally useless. Perhaps this was what his big brother, Haifeng, was thinking. He had brought so many demonic beasts. He even felt that his big brother definitely knew that he was in this place. Otherwise, he wouldn't have brought so many demon beasts over. He was simply a bastard. Another loud noise rang out. Hai Wuxin had a few more wounds on his body, and his whole body was on the verge of collapsing. At this time, he was already an arrow at the end of its flight. Of course, he knew that the activity organized by his father this time was not a small one. He had participated in activities like this several times. Every time he was surrounded by danger, and some even died in it. This time, Hai Wuxin did not expect that it would be him. His luck was too bad. If it was other demonic beasts, it would naturally be easy to deal with. However, it was different with demonic beasts. The strength of this 8-clawed demonic beast was not ordinary. The most important thing was that this guy was too good at pestering people. He could not break free at all. Another whisker came out from one of the whiskers. Each whisker was definitely very difficult to deal with. Whoosh whoosh. A light came from afar with a whoosh. Just like that, it swept across this fellow's body. The sky full of whiskers fell, just like that. A figure quickly rushed over. If it wasn't that senior, who else could it be? Hai Wuxin almost shouted the word senior. Where did you run off to? I almost lost my life. He still had to pretend. This was something that Hai Wuxin knew. Lin Fei did not say anything. With a slash of saber light, these demonic beasts were killed very quickly. The 8-clawed demonic beast was quite cunning. With a whoosh, it rolled back into the sea. It really knew that it was in danger. Lin Fei did not chase after the 8-clawed demonic beast. After all, his request was quite simple. He just needed to rescue this Hai Wuxin first. I'm really sorry. I didn't expect that I would encounter such big trouble as soon as I arrived. Hai Wuxin was still quite excited. At least the senior came to save him. Otherwise, he would really be finished. There was no need for the senior to do anything to him. Just the demonic beasts alone could destroy him. Your luck is indeed quite bad. All right, now that you've been rescued, we can go look for this reputation token. Along the way, Lin Fei only found 2 reputation tokens. The rest of the reputation tokens were probably taken by many people. However, it did not matter. The sea god seemed to have expected this scene. Therefore, even if he snatched the reputation token, he would still have to persist in this grotto heaven for a day and a night. This gave Lin Fei an excellent opportunity. Naturally, Lin Fei would have the opportunity to snatch those reputation tokens. This grotto heaven world was not big. Even if they used treasures to hide, Lin Fei would be able to find them one by one. After all, he could sense these reputation tokens. This was also something that Lin Fei only knew previously. After all, the system absorbed and refined the power of faith. And the reputation token was made from the power of faith. This undoubtedly became an obvious drawback. Lin Fei thought that he would have to keep searching blindly. But now, it seemed that he had thought too much. Relying on this little ability to find these reputation tokens was definitely not a problem. Now, let's go pick up the rest of the reputation tokens first. Hai Wuxin was slightly stunned. The reputation tokens could still be picked up, but they had probably been snatched clean by his brothers and sisters. However, Hai Wuxin did not say anything. Whatever the senior said was the truth. Perhaps the senior really had an unexpected discovery. It was better for him to listen to the senior. After all, it was a crucial moment now. There's one over here. There seems to be one over here too. Go and get it. Lin Fei could almost find these reputation tokens everywhere he went. It seemed that the sea god had given them out casually. Some entered the mountains, some were in the bodies of demonic beasts, and some were even in the bushes. It was really interesting. Hai Wuxin was completely convinced. The senior was indeed the senior. He was indeed different. If it was him, he would not be able to find so many reputation tokens. He would definitely not be able to match up to his brothers and sisters, or even his big brother. Chapter 4893. Right now, Hai Wuxin was obediently following behind her senior brother. As long as the senior went, he would follow. This island was really quite dangerous. There were traces of monsters everywhere, and from time to time, they would launch attacks. Moreover, it wasn't as simple as 1 or 2 monsters attacking. It was a large area. It could be considered a group attack. However, these methods were nothing in front of the senior. With a wave of his hand, they were instantly turned into ashes. This was also because the senior's strength was restrained. Otherwise, there wouldn't be any monsters that would be able to get close to them. Of course, the number of reputation tokens they obtained was also increasing. Senior, we've already collected 80,000 reputation points. Not only did Hai Wuxin put away the reputation tokens, he even tabulated the exact number of reputation tokens. He just didn't know what rank 80,000 reputation tokens could rank him. This was indeed a rather vexing problem. This was also a rather interesting small operation. No one knew if they had the most reputation tokens. Therefore, if they wanted to persist to the end, there was something else they had to do, and that was to snatch the reputation tokens from the other party's hands. This was also considered as another small test from the sea god. Without a certain level of strength, it was impossible to snatch the reputation tokens. This also allowed the sea god to better understand the level of strength of his sons and daughters. 80,000 reputation tokens is not much and not little. I reckon that they can be ranked in the upper echelons. However, they are still far from first place. If it wasn't for the fact that Lin Fei knew that these reputation tokens were made with the power of faith, he really wouldn't have cared. And now, these reputation tokens had become a great helper. As long as Lin Fei sensed carefully, he would be able to sense the position of these reputation tokens. The more reputation tokens there were, the stronger the sense of presence they showed. This was like a bright light in the dark. It was hard not to notice it. Lin Fei wanted to laugh. This sea god really helped him a lot. It's all right, you just follow me. We can go find people now and ask them for these reputation tokens. I believe they should be very sincere. As for what the sincerity meant, Hai Wuxin naturally understood. If they didn't hand it over, a battle would be inevitable, and they would be the ones to suffer. In a forest, there was a group of people fighting nonstop. Both of them were young masters, and they were fighting over the reputation tokens in each other's hands. One side was being suppressed. A single treasure was enough to greatly affect their strength. Bastard, I didn't expect you to bring this treasure that can suppress your strength. You are really tempted. The expression of the suppressed party changed drastically. Since you want to perform well in front of Father, you must do your best, understand? A treasure came crashing down with a loud rumble. If they could not withstand this smash, all of them would be injured. Not to mention protecting the reputation tokens on him. After a loud bang, the group of people was directly smashed into the air. One by one, they fell to the ground. They didn't have much fighting strength left. Ha ha ha, now these external tokens belong to me. I think you should have at least 100,000 reputation tokens. After you give them all to me, I will be able to break through 200,000 reputation points. Just as he was about to take the reputation token, a ray of light rushed in. Then he felt like he was hit by a mountain. With a loud rumble, he was sent flying and smashed into the ground. I'm really sorry. These reputation tokens don't belong to you. They belong to us. That person was caught off guard and was directly injured. He felt like his physical body was about to collapse. After taking a pill, he finally calmed down. When he looked again, he finally knew who it was. It was actually Hai Wuxin, and that powerful expert beside him. They didn't expect him to find them so quickly. But how did he find them here? This was what surprised them the most. Hai Wuxin said, "Did you hear that? Hand over your reputation tokens right now. Otherwise, once the people by my side take action, you won't have a good time. Even Big Brother would have to behave himself, let alone you two." Everyone knew who Hai Wuxin was, but they really didn't expect Hai Wuxin to come at this time. And he was able to accurately find their location. But they couldn't say anything at this time, and they couldn't even fight. After all, this person was quite strong. They all saw it for themselves. The experts around him were either injured, or their strength was far weaker than his. Wuxin, don't you think this is too much? You robbed one of us, and then another. When that time comes, everyone will be your enemy. Do you have the guts? Lin Fei directly came up and attacked in close range. He consecutively punched dozens of times, directly sending the person flying. I asked you to hand it over, so hand it over. Why are you talking so much nonsense? Lin Fei didn't want to waste time, so he directly took it. The person panicked. I'll give it, okay? In this short period of time, Lin Fei swept through 2 families. He took their reputation tokens. In an instant, he had 380,000 reputation points in his hands. This number was already not low. It would probably be a little difficult to get first place, because in Lin Fei's senses, there were a few groups of people with a stronger sense of existence. In other words, they had more reputation, tokens on them. So Lin Fei had to continue to work hard and get rid of the few biggest families first. Lin Fei followed along the way. No matter where they were all found by Lin Fei one by one. When they saw Hai Wuxin coming over, their expressions changed. Who didn't know that there was a great expert by Hai Wuxin's side? They didn't expect him to find them so quickly. Hand over the reputation token, and everyone will be friendly. Otherwise, when we fight later, you will be injured. It's that simple. Hai Wuxin came over and snorted coldly, not giving them any chance to choose. Either they fight or they get injured. It's not that easy to get us to hand over the reputation token. Let's talk after we fight. Of course, they wouldn't hand over the reputation token so easily. Only after exchanging blows did they realize that they were too weak. When he attacked, it was really impossible to defend against his close combat methods. Even if they took it head-on, they would be blasted away after a few hits. This caused their faces to turn deathly pale. I told you to be honest, but you didn't listen. Who can you blame? Chapter 4894. Along the way, no one could withstand Lin Fei's attacks. Even if they had some resistance at the beginning, they would become obedient later on because they couldn't withstand it at all. After all, Lin Fei's close combat skills were not something that anyone could withstand. At the very least, they couldn't. I already have 1,000,000 reputation points. Not long after, Lin Fei had gained 1,000,000 reputation points here. In Lin Fei's opinion, the first place should be in the bag. However, there was still one person who had a strong sense of presence. There was only one such existence on the entire island. If there was no accident, it should be Hai Wuxin's elder brother, Haifeng. This guy's methods were quite powerful. He actually got so many reputation points. It was estimated that he was on par with him. It's about time. Now we can go and catch that big fish. In this way, we can take first place. Lin Fei's eyes narrowed slightly. Finally, he could go. As for Hai Wuxin, he was also very happy. He didn't forget the gift that his elder brother gave him. This gift was not light. If it weren't for his good luck, he would have suffered a big loss. At this time, he heard that he was going to find his elder brother, Haifeng. Hai Wuxin was happier than anyone else. In another place, Haifeng was not idle. He set up a powerful array around him. He didn't forget that powerful expert. As long as Hai Wuxin brought this expert, it was very likely that the final battle would be between him and him. Therefore, after Haifeng got enough reputation points, he brought people to set up a large array at the scene. He didn't believe that this time he couldn't stop this guy. Elder brother, the array has been set up. Does it really have that effect? After all, such an array is too rare. That guy's strength is also very strong. If the array doesn't work, we might give it to him. That's right. I heard quite a bit of commotion just now. Now, the entire island seems to have become much quieter. If I'm not mistaken, that guy should have swept away quite a number of people and snatched their reputation. He might have found his way here. Don't worry, as long as he's here, he won't be able to leave this place today. This formation is a top-grade formation. In order to arrange it, I paid a huge price. As long as he's here, I'll let him experience what despair is. When the time comes, I'll directly cripple him. Of course, Haifeng did not forget the loss he suffered at the hands of his younger brother, Hai Wuxin. He had lost 2 puppet warriors and the Heaven Devourer. It could be said that the hatred in his heart had reached the heavens. Unfortunately, he could not make a move. Now, the opportunity had come. As long as he could trap him, that guy would be able to cripple him. When the time came, his little brother Hai Wuxin would not have such an expert. Let's see how he would challenge him. At that time, he would spit out all the things he had. Someone is already heading this way. If I'm not mistaken, it should be Hai Wuxin. Let's hide first. Haifeng also took a deep breath. He did not know how long he had waited for this day. Now it was finally here. Finally, he could take care of this guy properly. Let's see who would stand beside him this time. Lin Fei chased all the way and was very sure that Haifeng was in front. However, it was very quiet in front. The more it was like this, the more he believed that this Haifeng should have sensed their arrival. He must have set up many traps. Wait behind me. Don't come in. I'll go in and meet them first. Anyway, the one they want to deal with is me, not you. Lin Fei knew what they were thinking. No matter what, he would let them get what they wanted. So he decided to give them a chance. Let them know. Hai Wuxin also stopped and did not follow over. He also knew that at this time, it was useless to go over. There was no advantage to speak of. It was better to stand here obediently. Lin Fei walked over. Suddenly, in front of him, a gray fog shrouded over. A formation was activated. After it was activated, a terrifying power attacked. This power was very terrifying. An incomparably sacred aura. It was actually a terrifying, crushing power. In front of this will, some of Lin Fei's methods seemed to be suppressed. At that moment, Lin Fei could tell that this was definitely a top-level formation. A super expert had fused into this formation. This expert had surpassed the level of the infinite god of war and contained a trace of the expert's will. So just now he was instantly suppressed to the point that he could not move. There was a loud, rumbling sound. Lin Fei's physical body directly exploded. No matter how strong the expert's will was, now Lin Fei's physical body had almost reached the 50th level of the infinite divine body. It was very powerful. He directly broke free from the expert's will. After cracks appeared, a punch across the sky directly penetrated the will. He completely regained his freedom. Cracks began to appear on the surrounding array formation. This formation was not so easy to deal with. Now, under Lin Fei's full-strength explosion, cracks began to appear on the surface of the ground. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. The formation was directly destroyed. The expert's will was turned into ashes. Then, Lin Fei punched into the void. Haifeng and the rest who were hiding in the void fell directly. All of them were in a sorry state. Blood flowed from the corners of their mouths. They opened their treasures one after another to protect themselves. But they were extremely shocked, especially Haifeng. No one knew the power of this formation better than him. But now it was easily broken by the other party. He could not believe it. This person's physical body was so strong. He was clearly suppressed by the expert's will and couldn't move, let alone use any methods. But now that the formation was broken and he was injured, wouldn't it mean that all his efforts were in vain? Who are you? With your strength, it's impossible to be a guard by my brother's side. What is your purpose? Tell me quickly. Haifeng's reaction was also very fast. He finally knew that this person's strength was definitely strong. At the very least, he was a 9 stars war god powerhouse. Such a powerhouse following by his brother's side was definitely not a good thing. Who knows, he might be scheming something. Lin Fei smiled faintly. He reached out and grabbed and Haifeng flew over. I don't know what you're talking about. I only know that you can hand over the prestige token now. Otherwise, I don't mind throwing you to your younger brother and let him take care of you. After all, you made your younger brother very angry. He almost died in the mouth of that demonic beast. Lin Fei did not say anything. But to Haifeng, this was not a good thing. His younger brother, Hai Wuxin, probably hated him. If he really fell into his hands, he would probably suffer a lot. Chapter 4895. In order to deal with this mysterious expert, Haifeng had prepared a huge array. But now, he knew that he was overthinking. This guy was far more powerful than he imagined. No matter what he did, he couldn't deal with this guy in front of him. On the contrary, his priceless array was destroyed just like that. Not even a hair was left. Not to mention that he had fallen into the opponent's hands. If he didn't hand over the reputation token, it was very likely that it would be given to his younger brother, Hai Wuxin. With the temper of his younger brother, Hai Wuxin, he might make him suffer a lot. Haifeng pondered for a while and knew what he should choose. You're good this time. Isn't it just a reputation token? I'll give it to you, I'll give it to you. Without any hesitation, Haifeng took out all the reputation tokens. After all, in front of this guy, he really didn't have the leeway to struggle. Although he had some strength that could be compared with this guy, he felt that he was really weak. Too weak. The difference was too big. These reputation tokens flew over. Lin Fei instantly felt that these reputation tokens were indeed not small. It seemed that this guy really collected a lot of reputation tokens. Now it was simple. All of them fell into his hands. Since I got it, I have to give you a gift. Otherwise, it would be embarrassing. Haifeng's expression changed slightly. Then a figure came over from behind. If it wasn't his younger brother, Hai Wuxin, who could it be? At this time, Hai Wuxin's expression turned cold and he laughed loudly. My good big brother, you didn't expect it, right? Now it's my turn to give you a gift. Don't worry. The gift I give you will definitely make you satisfied. Lin Fei struck out with his palm. This force turned into a cage, instantly wrapping Haifeng. It floated in front of Hai Wuxin. Just like that, Hai Wuxin brought Haifeng back to the seaside. There were still quite a number of monstrous beasts on the beach. These monstrous beasts were all hiding and were quite frightened. However, after Haifeng was thrown here, coupled with the smell of blood, it instantly attracted some powerful, monstrous beasts. Haifeng's face paled a lot. Sure enough, he was still his good brother. He knew that he would send himself such a big meal. What is reciprocity? Now this is reciprocity. I hope you can remember it clearly. Needless to say, these sea beasts immediately surrounded them. Lin Fei and Hai Wuxin were not in a hurry to leave this place. In the blink of an eye, he had a reputation token worth more than 2 million. Taking first place was already a given. He wasn't in a hurry to go out. He planned to wait for the night. At that time, everyone would be able to leave on their own. Hai Wuxin watched from afar as his big brother struggled to deal with these demonic beasts. It was too difficult for him to leave. His body was also left with many scars. If he had known that this would happen, he definitely wouldn't have used such a method in the beginning. Who would have thought that in the blink of an eye, it would be his turn to suffer so much? It was really bitter. How is it, my good big brother? This feels pretty good, right? Anyway, these monstrous beasts aren't very strong. At most, you will suffer a little. It's nothing much. It's just some superficial injuries. This time, Hai Wuxin could be considered to have been able to hold his head high. This guy schemed against him. Now look at what happened. No matter how he thought about it, this guy was unlucky. Just like that, Haifeng, this big brother, kept suffering. In the end, a force sent them out. Only then did the nightmare end. When they came out, they were back in the original place. In other words, in that palace. Everyone seemed to be in a very sorry state. At the same time, their eyes fell on their big brother, Haifeng. When they saw him, their expressions slightly changed. Because their big brother's face didn't look good, and he was also embarrassed. The only one with the best expression should be Hai Wuxin. They couldn't help but have this thought in their hearts. Could it be that their big brother also suffered a loss in the hands of Hai Wuxin? When they saw the man in black standing behind Hai Wuxin, they instantly understood what was going on. It was possible that their big brother also suffered a big loss. If it was any other time, it would have been fine. However, at this time, they knew that if nothing unexpected happened, the first place this time should be his little brother, Hai Wuxin. In fact, it was really like this. The reputation tokens in the hands of these people were all snatched away. Even if they had a few 100,000 points, they would only have a few 100,000 points. The most they had was around 350,000 points, which was far from what Hai Wuxin had. 2 million points of reputation token was really a huge number. Hai Xin looked at his son Wuxin and was quite satisfied. After all, they could clearly see everything that was happening inside. His son had found a good helper. Having such a helper would indeed bring a lot of benefits. Of course, he was also quite disappointed with his eldest son's defeat. No matter how he schemed, he didn't take into account the entire situation. A loss was a loss. Wu Xin, you did pretty well this time. Everyone has a whole new level of respect for you. You can enter the treasury to choose 3 items. The sea god's words spread like wildfire. The other brothers and sisters were all envious, especially Haifeng. It originally belonged to him, but now it was directly snatched away by his little brother, Hai Wuxin. His heart was filled with hatred. He hated that man in black for being so strong. He couldn't even get a top-grade great array to deal with him. Instead, he had lost a great array. This wasn't a small loss. Your big brother has always been a role model for you, but this time he really disappointed me. So, you can go to the water prison and face the wall for a year. 2 black shadows came out from behind. They said to Haifeng, respectfully, "Eldest young master, come with us." Haifeng's body trembled, and he obediently followed along. The other brothers and sisters sucked in a breath of cold air. They didn't expect their father to punish their big brother and make him stay in the water prison for a year. They couldn't even stay there for a day. Moreover, it was a year. This time, big brother was really going to suffer. Lin Fei just stood there quietly and didn't make any movements. However, he knew that Haishin must have been sizing him up just now. Fortunately, from the beginning to the end, Lin Fei didn't explode with too much strength. Although he was stronger than these people, he wasn't that much stronger. It was just that his body was stronger than theirs. This was also a small bright spot. Of course, there would be doubts. However, Lin Fei didn't think too much about it. At the very least, he had completed half of his mission. The rest was how to get in. Chapter 4896. This time, Hai Wuxin was really in the limelight. After all, even his big brother suffered a loss and had to be locked up for a year. He was the biggest winner. Of course, when everyone looked at the black-clothed man, their expressions were even more different. They were all filled with envy and fear. If they had such an opportunity, it would be great. Unfortunately, they didn't have such an opportunity. Where could they find such an expert? If they knew this would happen, they would have found someone powerful, even if they had to pay a huge price. Now, they finally realized the benefits of having a powerful expert by their side. Just like that, this time, Hai Wuxin got the biggest benefit. He even got his father's commendation, which made him feel very proud. However, in front of his senior, he was still well-behaved. He was very clear about this senior's ability. If he wanted to destroy him, it would really be a piece of cake. No matter what, this time he was in the limelight. As for what would happen in the future, no one knew. In any case, he had already gotten what he wanted. The senior had already helped him to create quite a bit of an impression in front of his brothers and sisters. For the time being, his brothers and sisters wouldn't make any big movements. This was really great. At the same time, this news spread among the sea race. Everyone thought that the eldest young master, Haifeng, would get the first place, but in the end he suffered such a big loss. This Hai Wuxin was very inconspicuous, but he actually stood up in an instant and even got the sea god's commendation. Therefore, in a short period of time, there were many people in Hai Wuxin's residence. All of them were here to visit. After all, Hai Wuxin had risen. At the very least, within this year, Hai Wuxin wouldn't be in the limelight. Haifeng wasn't so lucky. He would have to suffer for a year. In comparison, Hai Wuxin was truly unbelievably blessed. Lin Fei wasn't disturbed by anyone. He also knew that Hai Wuxin knew what to do. He also saw many experts coming over. They were all here to visit. One could imagine that Hai Wuxin had become a popular existence. As for whether the sea god was deliberately manipulating it, no one knew. Anyway, it had nothing to do with Lin Fei. He was thinking about how to follow Hai Wuxin into the treasury. That was the most important thing. If he didn't enter the treasury, how could he obtain the power of faith inside? Since even a prestige token could be forged with the power of faith, then the treasury would definitely contain real power of faith. As for how many there were, Lin Fei wasn't sure, but it was definitely not a small number. If he could get his hands on this batch of power of faith, his infinite God physique would probably be able to break through continuously. Then the power of his physical body would also become stronger. This was also the person that Lin Fei was looking forward to. But Lin Fei didn't figure out any way. He couldn't possibly force his way through, right? Therefore, Lin Fei decided to take it one step at a time. At the very least, he had to get infinitely close to the treasury. That way, if a fight really broke out, he would be able to charge in immediately. With such an opportunity, he would be able to obtain the power of faith. If he really forced his way into the treasury, then it would be a huge problem. After all, this treasury wasn't as simple as he imagined. He heard that it was placed in the deepest part of the palace. Without the sea god's token, one couldn't enter at all. Those experts kept stopping him. Coupled with the powerful formation, one could imagine how difficult it would be. Lin Fei didn't want to be rash. He was afraid that he would be stopped before he reached the treasury. That would really be a waste. At the very least, he had a chance now. At most, he was just one step away. To Lin Fei, this was nothing at all. In the end, Lin Fei decided to take it one step at a time. Only then would he have a chance. In the blink of an eye, it was time for Hai Wuxin to head to the treasury. Although Hai Wuxin was visited by many people, he was still well behaved in front of his seniors. He also had the sea god's token in his hand. Just like that, he brought Lin Fei to the treasury. Who didn't know that Lin Fei was a big expert by Hai Wuxin's side? As for Lin Fei's background, no one had figured it out until now. In any case, he was very powerful. Having such a great expert by his side was very normal. Once he entered the place that led to the treasury, Lin Fei knew that this treasury was indeed very important. There were many experts hidden in the darkness. They were all 8-star war gods and 9-star war gods. Apart from that, there was also a formation. There were actually many strong wills in this formation. Any one of these wills could transform into an incomparably powerful existence. An existence like this would definitely cause people to suffer. If it was just one, it would be fine. However, there were far more than one. Lin Fei was even more glad that he didn't barge in recklessly. Since this sea god could sit on such a huge ocean, he naturally had some ability. If there were no accidents, these should have been left behind by some powerful sea beasts. These sea beasts were very likely to have reached the level of invincible war gods. Even if it was just a will after it exploded, it could have a certain impact on weaker people. Naturally, Lin Fei wasn't afraid of this kind of will. However, it would still more or less stop him. Moreover, there were so many wills here. One after another, they almost became a tiger blocking the way. He was afraid that his strength would be completely depleted before he even reached the treasury. The possibility of this was very high. Along the way, no one stopped him at all. Finally, he arrived at the entrance of the treasury. There were actually 3 statues at the entrance of the treasury. These 3 statues were originally motionless. However, when Hai Wuxin came over, they instantly moved. Once they moved, Lin Fei could feel the power of these 3 statues. They were extremely powerful. They should be almost at the level of an invincible war god. In other words, these were statues of 3 invincible war gods. This kind of power was placed here as the final threshold. It was indeed enough to make everyone feel hopeless. This was the real deal. Moreover, the 3 of them stood side by side. Lin Fei could even feel that their power seemed to be connected. In other words, the power of the 3 statues could move back and forth. One of the statues could instantly explode with great power. This was indeed very powerful. In Lin Fei's opinion, this kind of method was also problematic. As long as he cut off the connection between one of the statues, the strength of the statue would disappear. In other words, he could enter the treasury. I came to the treasury to pick 3 treasures under my father's orders. Please open the door. Chapter 4897. Now, It was up to him to see if he could enter. At least for Lin Fei, if he could enter, he would have a higher chance of obtaining the power of faith. Although Hai Wuxin would help him take the things out, it would not be as good as going in himself. The possibility of this was very low, so the only thing Lin Fei could do was to force his way into the treasury. However, this treasury was a little different from what he had imagined. After all, this was the treasury of the sea god. If one only looked at it from the surface, then one would definitely be wrong. Lin Fei knew this very well. His Majesty said that only one person is allowed to enter. The guard next to you can only wait outside. One of the puppets said with a stiff voice. Lin Fei was not surprised at all. After all, this was the treasury of the sea god. How could an outsider be allowed to enter? Hai Wuxin also transmitted his voice over. Senior, what should we do now? Only one person can enter. The worst thing that could happen still happened. Hai Wuxin knew that this would happen, so he could only wait for Senior. In any case, he was now tied together with Senior. Then you can trick him into opening the door. When he opens it, I will force my way in. Then you can come in too. Lin Fei did not think at all. He knew that if he missed this opportunity, it would be as difficult as ascending to heaven to come here again. If he did not enter this time, he would not have a chance next time. No matter what, he had to go in. No one could stop him. Hai Wuxin said, faintly, of course, "Open the door. I will leave after taking the things." The 3 stone puppets suddenly shot out 3 rays of light. The 3 rays of light turned into a pattern and landed on the door. Soon after, another door appeared. What a wonderful method! If he really forced his way in and destroyed the 3 statues, it would be impossible to enter the treasury. This method was indeed quite novel. Lin Fei was also secretly glad that he had not used violence against them. Although he could destroy the 3 statues, it would be difficult to enter. Hai Wuxin flew towards the door. At this moment, Lin Fei moved. He used the great teleportation. Whoosh! However, when it got close to the door, it formed a defensive barrier. This defense seemed to be to prevent outsiders from entering. Lin Fei was not surprised at all and punched out. The ripple disappeared in an instant, and Lin Fei immediately entered the treasury. Just as Lin Fei entered, a voice rang out. Hai Wuxin also followed him in, and the door was closed again. Not good. That person broke into the treasury. Inform the elders immediately. Someone has broken into the treasury. It's one of Hai Wuxin's guards. The statues on this side immediately moved. Lin Fei didn't think too much about it. He directly entered the treasury. Only great teleportation would be able to barge in. He didn't expect that there would be a barrier on the door. This barrier was quite strong, and without a certain level of strength, it would be impossible to break it. It was the same for the 9 stars war god. Lin Fei instantly exploded with the power of the infinite god body. With a punch, he broke the barrier and finally barged in. At this time, Hai Wuxin's face also paled. Do you know how long it will take for this treasury to be opened? Once he entered, Lin Fei wasn't in a hurry to search for the item, but asked Hai Wuxin. Hai Wuxin thought for a moment and said, I heard that after the door opens, it will only open if we want to leave. Otherwise, it will take a day. Even if my father is here, it will be the same. This is because this was left behind by the first generation sea god. A day's time wasn't long, but it wasn't short either. However, to Lin Fei it was more than enough. With such a day's time, he would be able to make his infinite god body even stronger. However, it seems like my father can send down his thoughts. Hai Wuxin had placed all his hopes on Senior. Whether he could survive or not would depend on Senior. If Senior didn't do his best, then he would really be finished. Since it's rare for you to be here, you should pick a few good items. Don't worry, they won't take these treasures back. Lin Fei had already sensed the existence of the power of faith. After saying that to Hai Wuxin, he went straight for the power of faith. He wanted to see how much power of faith there was. Although he didn't know how much there was, he could clearly feel the existence of the power of faith. He could harvest this power of faith. There were rows of shelves everywhere in the treasury. There were boxes on the shelves, and there were seals on the boxes. These were all seals that had been left behind by specialized people. Very quickly, Lin Fei found the place where the power of faith was stored. There were many boxes here, and inside the boxes was the power of faith. Lin Fei reached out with his hand and broke the seal. He casually opened the box. Then, a ball of power of faith flew out. The power of faith was much denser than before. In other words, after killing this alternative god of war, the amount of power of faith he collected was much more than he expected. It was really worth it this time. I didn't expect this ball of power of faith to be several times more than the power of faith I collected outside. Lin Fei didn't know how many alternative gods of war the sea god had killed. Needless to say, the strength of the alternative gods of war was exceptionally strong. Just look at the power of faith. The first thing he did was to refine the power of faith. Then he broke open the second box. It was the same power of faith. His face was full of smiles. The more power of faith, the better. When the time comes, the infinite god body will be greatly improved, and I won't be afraid of the sea god. Even if you mobilize the power of the Sea Clan. So what? Lin Fei was already confident. There were actually more than 10 of such boxes here. To Lin Fei, he was already very satisfied to be able to obtain 4 or 5 of such power of faith. Now that he had more than 10 of them, it was definitely a huge gain. One by one, Lin Fei kept the power of faith. They were quickly converted into honor points. Then, without any hesitation, he started to break through. Ding! Infinite God Body Level 50. Ding! Infinite God Body Level 50. Activated Strength Weakening Domain. Weakening the opponent's strength by 10%. Lin Fei squinted his eyes and smiled. This was good stuff. In the past, Lin Fei had guessed that the more he progressed, the stronger some of the abilities would be. Level 50 Infinite God Body is far from enough. Continue to improve. This time, Lin Fei was going all out to see how many levels he could improve. He was afraid that at level 60, he would be even stronger. If that person came, he would probably be able to wipe him out. Chapter 4898. Lin Fei and Hai Wuxin had just broken into the treasury. The people from the Sea God Palace also received the news. In an instant, a layer of fluctuation appeared in this area. Layer after layer of formations began to operate. For a moment, this place turned into a dragon's pool and tiger's den. As soon as the commotion came out, the higher-ups of the sea god side all came over. They also saw this change. Who can tell me what's going on? Why are the formations in the treasury activated? Could it be that someone broke into the treasury? Logically speaking, it shouldn't be possible. I remember that today is the day that Hai Wuxin went in to choose treasures. Could it be that something happened? Other than the higher-ups of the Sea Clan, even some of Hai Wuxin's brothers and sisters came over one by one. After all, this time Hai Wuxin was in the limelight, so everyone wanted to know what treasures he would find here. 3 pieces. It was enough to greatly increase his strength. Now that this situation had appeared, it was indeed a little unexpected. Someone broke into the treasury. At this moment, a group of black-armored guards appeared. When this group of black-armored guards came over, everyone sucked in a breath of cold air. This group of black-armored guards was specially tasked with guarding the treasury. Now that the black-armored guards had appeared, it meant that someone had entered the treasury. I know what's going on. It must be the black-clothed man next to Hai Wuxin. That guy's strength is unfathomable. It's very likely that he broke into the treasury. Someone cried out in alarm. At this moment, everyone seemed to understand. Perhaps that was really the case. Many of his brothers and sisters were gloating. In the past, Hai Wuxin really didn't have the qualifications to compete with them. Although their strength was about the same, the helper by his side this time was too powerful. Until now, they still hadn't found out the details. It was as if a person had appeared out of thin air. This was the most difficult thing to accept. Now it was great, daring to break into the sea god's treasury. This person was really bold. No matter what happened after this, their younger brother, Hai Wuxin, was going to be unlucky. Without the black-clothed man, what was their younger brother, Hai Wuxin? They also knew that even if they couldn't enter the treasury for a while, their father could. How strong could the black-clothed man be? Haifeng, who was in the water prison, also heard the news and fell into ecstasy. Ha 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 ha! I didn't think that Hai Wuxin would have such a day. I knew that there was something wrong with that black-clothed man. His strength is so strong. It seems that he has his eyes on our sea city's treasury. But he didn't think that it would be so easy to enter the treasury. Even if he enters, he can't come out alive. No one has ever left this place. The originally Haifeng, who was originally gloomy, had gone crazy. He could finally see the geography, but he was unlucky. Once Imperial Father made his move, no matter what happened in the end, his younger brother, Hai Wuxin, would definitely be thrown into the water dungeon and forced to face the wall for a year or 2 or even 10. If one were to stay here for 10 years, one could only imagine the feeling of bitterness and discomfort. If I stay here for 10 years, I can imagine the pain. I might be able to get out soon. Hai Wuxin was really nervous this time, but no matter how nervous he was, he still started to choose treasures. Apart from that, he also picked a defensive item. In addition, he chose a defensive treasure. Although he was still a little nervous, as long as his senior was here, he didn't have to worry so much. Crash! A ray of light instantly appeared in the treasury. An imposing and powerful will swept over Hai Wuxin, just like that. Hai Wuxin spat out a mouthful of blood on the spot. Father is here. This was the worst scenario. He was most worried that his father would come. Wu Xian was well aware of his imperial father's strength. As long as he came, he wouldn't be able to fight. He would be injured with just a thought. Wuxin, you actually let someone break into the sea god's treasury? What punishment do you deserve? Sea god's gaze swept over. Hai Wuxin spat out blood again. He swayed and sat on the ground. Get out here right now. A huge hand grabbed out into the distance. I will come out just because you told me to. Who do you think you are? Was it just a thought? Believe it or not, I can make you lose your thought in seconds. There was a loud rumbling sound. Before the hand reached out, the void was already attacking. The hand collapsed inch by inch. A figure stepped over. It was Lin Fei. Didn't I just enter your treasury? Is there a problem with that? Or are you saying that your treasury is only open to the Sea Clan? Sea God's gaze fell on the young man. I didn't expect you to be the one who dared to break into the treasury. Only someone like you would do that. Of course, Sea God had a deep impression of this person. He was really strong. He didn't expect that he would be able to break into the treasury. There didn't seem to be anything missing in the treasury. Apart from the power of faith, there was nothing else. This made the sea god even more confused. Was this guy here for the power of faith? That thing was pretty useless. The sea god had killed many different war gods in the past. Was that why he collected a lot of power of faith? There was no point in keeping it. But now, all the power of faith had disappeared. Needless to say, it must have been taken away by this fellow. Not many things were lost in such a huge treasury. It was just that there weren't many treasures left. Not to mention the power of faith. The sea god would not have believed it if he had not seen it with his own eyes. No matter what, this guy broke into the treasury. That was provoking the sea god, provoking the entire sea race. Since you're quite strong, why don't you just surrender? You might even be able to keep your corpse intact. Otherwise, I'll make sure you die without a burial. The sea god looked at the black-clothed man quietly. Surrender without a fight? Forget it. I am a little interested in you. It just so happens that I've mastered my divine art. Let's see if I can kill you in one move." Lin Fei suddenly moved. He waved his hand and threw a punch. This punch was very simple. All the power was gathered into one point. However, when this point appeared, the sea god's expression changed instantly. A magnificent ocean appeared in front of him. Hai Wuxin was shocked. Of course, he recognized this move. This was the famous sea race defense. So what if you used a defensive move? If I say I'll destroy your consciousness, then I'll destroy it. There won't be a second time. There was a loud bang. This power directly penetrated the sea race defense. When it landed on the body of the sea god, numerous cracks instantly appeared. Then the sea god's silhouette collapsed. "I told you, but you still don't believe me." Chapter 4899. The existence of such a will was not very strong for Lin Fei. The other party was only at the late stage of the 9 stars war god. This kind of strength was indeed very, very strong. Unless he encountered a peak existence, ordinary 9 stars war gods would not be able to defeat him. However, when encountering Lin Fei, it could only be said that the other party was weak. In fact, Lin Fei did not even use any methods. He directly punched through the air and killed this will. The pupils of the originally injured Hai Wuxin constricted. He had really underestimated Senior's strength. Just like that, he easily killed his father's will. His heart was instantly filled with ecstasy. He was afraid that he had hugged a thick thigh. With such a thick thigh, what was there to be afraid of? The first thing he did was to flatter. Senior is mighty, mighty, and domineering. The power of this was not very strong, so everything was within Lin Fei's expectations. This guy would probably not come in so easily again. Destroying a will was not a big loss, but it was more or less a little unpleasant. "Wait until tomorrow, let's go out again. See if there are any good things here. Let's take them all in one go. Don't leave anything behind." Lin Fei was not idle at this time. He was ready to see what good things there were to pack. It was rare for him to come here. As for what the sea god would think, Lin Fei had nothing to worry about. At the same time, in a palace, the sea god's body trembled slightly. A trace of blood flowed down the corner of his mouth. Then they disappeared without a trace. The sea god's expression changed slightly. As expected, he is quite famous. He actually destroyed my will with a single move. At the very least, this guy is at the peak of the 9 stars war god level. The sea god has not seen such an expert in a long time. Previously, the sea god only went in to take a look. He wanted to know how strong this guy was. Now, it seemed that he was much stronger than expected. The peak of the 9-star war god was the so-called peak expert. In the entire sea race, there were only a few people with such strength, let alone daring to break into the sea race. This guy was indeed very bold. "Your Majesty, such an expert has appeared in our sea race, and he has a connection with young Master Hai Wuxin. Could it be that the human race has some ideas again? Or perhaps they sent him to scout?" A confidant beside him said in a low voice. The sea god had actually lost a strand of consciousness. If news of this were to spread, the entire sea race would be shocked. It doesn't matter if it was arranged by the humans or not. As long as the Oceanids are here, then there's no need for them to leave. Withdraw everyone and make them leave the Oceanids. Once they leave, then I'll make my move. It just so happens that I'm lacking a material. This guy is perfect for me to refine into a pinnacle puppet. The sea god laughed. It was really hard to find such a high-quality item, especially when one's physical body had reached such a level. When the other party attacked just now, he didn't use any power at all. It was purely the power of his physical body. To be able to destroy his consciousness with a single punch, this kind of strength was really rare. Therefore, the sea god realized one thing more. This guy's physical body was definitely the best raw material. He could be refined into a puppet, and a powerful one at that. Many of the sea race's higher-ups were outside the treasury. In the end, they didn't see any movement. Instead, they received a message. Everyone had evacuated. None of them recovered from their shock. What did their father mean? Was he going to let them stay inside? Although they more or less had some thoughts in their hearts, they still obediently withdrew. For a moment, the outside was empty. No one knew what their father wanted to do. Everyone knew one thing. Young Master Hai Wuxin and the black-clothed man inside were going to be in trouble. As for how bad it would depend on the mood of the sea god, which was also the mood of His Majesty. In the blink of an eye, the next day, the door opened again. What they expected didn't happen. "Senior, I'm afraid my father wants us to leave this place by ourselves and take action outside. If we do it here, the impact will be too great." Hai Wuxin could more or less guess his father's thoughts. The corners of Lin Fei's mouth curled into a smile. "Since he wants us to go outside the sea race, then we can't fulfill his wish. We can take this opportunity to stroll around the sea god's palace, don't you think?" For Hai Wuxin, such words were definitely full of shock. It was also full of shock. Strolling around in this place would infuriate her father greatly. "Senior is right. We're already here. How can we leave so easily?" Hai Wuxin naturally hoped that his senior would be as fierce as possible. He had snatched a lot of treasures inside. It was definitely an existence that would make others jealous. As long as he could withstand this, then relying on these treasures, he would be able to recruit many experts. Just thinking about it made him feel excited. Now it was up to his senior. Lin Fei strode outside, and Hai Wuxin followed behind. He was really like a little follower. When they reached the outside, all the formations couldn't stop Lin Fei's footsteps. With a rumble, they shattered. When they reached the outside, it was also empty outside and there were no attacks. Lin Fei knew that everything was as Hai Wuxin said. This sea god probably really wanted to make a move outside. Lin Fei naturally didn't care if they changed places. However, since the sea god wanted them to leave, then Lin Fei had to take a good look around here. Although this place was empty, there were still many people paying attention to the palace. They also saw Hai Wuxin and the black-clothed man coming out. Their hearts were filled with doubts. Didn't His Majesty make a move? Logically speaking, His Majesties should let them experience what despair was. However, the current situation was really beyond everyone's imagination. Could it be that nothing had really happened? This was not in line with His Majesty's temper, which was also His Majesty's temper. How is it possible? They just came out like this. Could it be that nothing happened? Hai Wuxin is dead this time. He's definitely dead. Father will not let him go easily. And that black-clothed man is the same. He definitely won't have a good time. How dare he break into the treasury? Oh no! The two of them seemed to be heading towards the Sea God Hall. Everyone saw that the two of them were heading towards the Sea God Hall. That was the most important place in the palace. What did these two people mean by this? Chapter 4900. Lin Fei and Hai Wuxin walked towards the Sea God Hall. The Sea God Hall was where the sea god lived. This was why there weren't many people here. But today, there were many higher-ups of the sea race. They didn't expect the man in black and Hai Wuxin to come in this direction. At the same time, they felt really smug. It seemed like they were courting death. Since they were here, it was impossible for them to leave. Once the sea god made a move, he would definitely be able to suppress all of them. Along the way, although some people saw Lin Fei and Hai Wuxin, they didn't do anything. It was as if they had received the news. Lin Fei smiled. He knew that the sea god had some other thoughts. He wanted to see what this guy was up to. Suddenly, Lin Fei took a step forward and punched. The power of this punch directly turned into a torrent, directly crushing over. No one expected that Lin Fei would actually make a move at this moment. The punch instantly created a large area of ruins. It crushed all the way towards the Sea God Hall. Suddenly, a bright light of power appeared in front of him, blocking the power of this punch, even if it was like this. Because after layers of ripples appeared on the brilliant light, it was as if the light had disappeared. It collapsed with a loud bang. Then, another layer of light appeared, followed by another layer of light. There were more than 10 beams of light. Only then did the power of this punch completely block it. Just this one punch was enough to make everyone realize what terror was. This man in black was too terrifying. He definitely wasn't one of Hai Wuxin's guards. This person was definitely a big shot. He might even be an old monster. You barged in like this. Do you not care about the sea race? The elder flew over. He couldn't take it anymore. Just as he finished speaking, a figure directly collided with his body and instantly turned into a pool of blood. Even the sea god didn't say anything. What right does a mere elder like you have to speak? If you don't want to die, then shut up. Lin Fei smiled faintly, as if he had done something insignificant. However, for the other higher-ups, their expressions changed drastically in an instant. They were filled with fear and anger, but no one dared to make another move. He was killed in such a short time. That was an 8-star celestial god. Moreover, he was at the peak of the 8 stars war god realm. He was only a step away from becoming a 9 stars war god, but he was still killed by a single blow. This also made everyone realize that this guy was definitely in existence at the level of a 9-star war god. This was because those who had some ideas didn't dare to have any ideas at this time. If he were to rush out now, he would definitely be killed by this guy. They didn't have that kind of courage, so they all endured it. But for some elders, it was different. Another beam of light shot out. As soon as the light appeared, the meteors in the sky immediately attacked. It turned out that a 9 stars war god had made a move. When everyone saw this 9 stars war god make a move, they were delighted. This time he could finally see just how strong this black-clothed man was. It's Elder Een He. With Elder Een He making a move, there won't be a problem. Each of these beams of light was filled with the power of a 9 stars war god. Even when they were about to reach Lin Fei, they instantly exploded with a terrifying chill. In this small area, a frozen land had actually been created. A chill instantly enveloped Lin Fei's body. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. However, as soon as the chill enveloped him, it instantly collapsed. Lin Fei's figure had already passed through the heavy beams of light. He arrived in front of the elder and pierced through him with a punch. All the defenses were useless at this moment. I told you, if Poseidon doesn't make a move, then you have no chance at all. In any case, you are a 9 stars war god. What a pity. There was a loud bang. A 9 stars war god had fallen, just like that. Seeing this scene, the remaining high-level elders didn't dare to have any more thoughts. This person was definitely a demon. Killed 2 experts. From start to finish, it was just a punch. His opponent's physical body seemed to have become exceptionally strong. There were no problems along the way. Even when those beams of light bombarded his body, it didn't have any effect. This made them even more incredulous. Someone's physical body was even stronger than their oceanic clans. This was simply absurd. Since you are so powerful, why do you have to make things difficult for them? Why don't you come in and have a cup of tea? Poseidon's voice drifted over slowly. Lin Fei also smiled. Did you see that? Fighting back and forth? You are the only unlucky ones. Wouldn't it be better to just stand there obediently? Look, an 8 stars war god is gone, and a 9 stars war god is gone. Lin Fei smiled faintly and directly walked forward. Although Hai Wuxin was following behind, he also received a lot of attention. But at this time he puffed out his chest and walked forward. He also plucked up his courage. Just look at Senior. If even Senior isn't afraid, then what do I have to be afraid of? At least his father didn't make a move at this moment. Then one could imagine. He definitely had some idea. And Elder Een He, a 9 stars war god, was killed in an instant. This also made Hai Wuxin believe in this senior's strength even more. Absolutely unfathomable. Since that was the case, then why did he have to be so careful? Within Poseidon's hall, there was indeed a figure sitting. In front of him was a horizontal table, and below it was a row of horizontal tables. The entire space was empty. No one dared to enter at this moment. Lin Fei directly walked in. He glanced at Poseidon. Poseidon's gaze also looked over. I really didn't think that my oceanic clan would have such a powerful expert. This Poseidon didn't make a move. Lin Fei didn't think that he was afraid, but that he had some idea. If they were to really fight, they would have to fight it out first. I'm used to keeping a low profile, so I came to be a guest of the Oceanic clan. At the same time, I'll enter your Oceanic clan to see what you have. You don't have any objections, right? Lin Fei had already entered and casually sat down in front of Zhang Heng. Since you invited me in to drink tea, don't tell me there's no tea. Otherwise, I'll be very unhappy. If I'm happy, I'm afraid I'll tear down your Poseidon's hall. Believe it or not. Poseidon looked over and laughed loudly. With a clap of his hands, a teapot flew over unhurriedly. However, Lin Fei could tell with a single glance that there was a tremendous amount of power contained within it. The power that erupted from it was definitely at the pinnacle of the 9-star war god level. Indeed, this fellow was only a step away from becoming an invincible war god. If there's tea, then we can talk nicely. Chapter 4901. The sea god didn't do anything. Instead, he invited this guy inside to drink tea. Indeed, no one dared to believe it. Could it be that this fellow was really that strong? If they fought here, wouldn't they be able to defeat him instantly? Hence, everyone was waiting for the sea god to make a move. Once he made a move, he would suppress this guy. That way, there wouldn't be any trouble. Lin Fei drank his tea unhurriedly. He wasn't afraid of the sea god at all. He didn't have to worry about the tea being poisoned. If this guy did something, Lin Fei had nothing to be afraid of. Moreover, he knew that such a big shot wouldn't bother with such small details. I've drunk a cup. What does the sea god have to say? If not, I'm leaving. Lin Fei put down the cup. The sea god laughed. You're more daring than I thought. You stole something from the treasury and drank my tea. It's rare to see someone as daring as you. Of course it's rare to see someone like me. I heard that there are many things in the treasury, so I came to take a look. Could it be that the sea god can't take it anymore? If you can't take it anymore, then let's fight. Actually, I want to fight with you to see who's stronger. Lin Fei was fearless now. Even if the sea god could control the power of the sea god, his strong body could still take it. Hence, he wanted to know the limits of his body. The sea god laughed. You do have the right to fight with me. However, I still hope that you can work under me. The sea god race lacks an expert like you. Roping him in. He was roping him in. Even Hai Wuxin was startled in his heart. Father actually roped in such a senior. However, would the senior agree? He felt that the possibility was very low. As long as the senior didn't agree, there might be a huge fight later. The possibility was very high. There's no point in roping me in. I'm not interested in working for others. So let's have a fight first. Otherwise, you'll feel uncomfortable, and I'll have one less regret. Don't you think so? The sea god felt that this guy in front of him was getting more and more interesting. Don't tell me you think you can contend against me with this body of yours. You should know that even human experts have to lower their heads when they come to the sea race because they are not my opponents. Do you think you are my opponent? Lin Fei laughed. They are them. I am me. I am completely different from them. With his own physical body, how many people could withstand it? No one could withstand it at all. The sea god felt that this person in front of him was becoming more and more interesting. He was truly audacious and incomparably arrogant. Even the experts of the human race wouldn't dare to say such words in front of him. How could a brat like him dare to say such words? How about we play a game? Let's go outside and fight. If you lose, you'll have to work for me for 1,000 years. The sea god looked over. If I lose, you can make a request. I'm a straightforward person. Lin Fei knew that the sea god had his own thoughts. This bet is quite interesting. If I lose, I'll work for you for 1,000 years. If you lose, you can let me make any request. Interesting, really interesting. I'm just afraid that if you lose, you might not agree to my conditions. Since I can be the sea god here, I'm naturally not like what you think. If I lose, I lose. If I win, I win. It's very simple. If you really win, do you think my sea race can stop you? Lin Fei laughed heartily again. All right then, let's have a duel. However, if I win, I don't have too many requests. I just want to go to the real treasury of your sea god. Don't think that I don't know that the treasury I entered was just used to deceive outsiders. It wasn't the real treasury. Lin Fei laughed heartily again. You're quite amazing to be able to see this. As you wish, if you win, I'll let you go to the real treasury and allow you to choose the things inside. You don't have to worry. I'll go to your treasury and choose some powerful treasures. I'll only choose things that I can feel. No matter how powerful they are, it's useless if I can't feel them. This time, it was the sea god's turn to be a little surprised. He couldn't even see through this guy. Does he really think he can defeat me? Then let's go outside and have a fight. The sea god tore open the void with a whoosh. Lin Fei also tore open the void and followed. In the blink of an eye, only Hai Wuxin was left. Hai Wuxin didn't know what the final result would be. He could only pray. Senior, you must win. As long as you win, my status in the sea race will become very high. Even my brothers and sisters will have to step aside. Even my father, the emperor, will look at me in a new light. He prayed. He flipped a cup and poured himself a cup of tea. He wanted to drink it to calm himself down. One had to know that he was truly audacious this time. As for the final result, he could only rely on Senior. If Senior couldn't win, then he could only blame it on his bad luck. If Senior won, then it would be different. The two of them tore open the void one after the other. In the blink of an eye, they arrived at the ocean. At this moment, the two of them continued to fly forward. The two of them were extremely fast. Everywhere they passed, the sea beasts dove down. They could sense a very dangerous aura from the two of them. In the end, the two of them arrived at the depths of the ocean. They landed on an island. There was a violent storm, lightning, and thunder. It was a very dangerous place. From time to time, they could see sea beasts flipping over. However, at this moment, they were very quiet, as if they knew that the two of them were very dangerous. If they made a move, they might be wiped out. I can still give you a chance. Do things for me for 1,000 years. During this period, there will definitely be benefits that you can't imagine. The sea god said once more. Lin Fei shook his head. Let's just fight. Cut the crap. After we fight, I still have to go back to pick the spoils of war. Don't you think so? The sea god raised his hand. As you wish. Swoosh. The seawater in the sky surged over. The flowing water turned into giants. On the other hand, sea god quickly distanced himself. Ripples appeared in front of him and turned into a boundless defense. This guy seemed to know that Lin Fei was a close combat expert, so he set up a huge defense. The giants that were formed from the ocean were quite strong. The moment they appeared, they were already at the level of a 9-star war god. One saber light, followed by another. They were densely packed. Chapter 4902. The giants formed by the seawater were indeed very strong. Each of them had the strength of a 9-stars war god. There were a total of 10 giants. When the giants attacked together, the power was very strong. Of course, to Lin Fei, this was just a small test. We're all adults. There's no point in using such a small move. Lin Fei laughed. Then his figure flashed, and he collided with one of the giants. With this collision, the seawater giant collapsed instantly. Then he collided with another giant. Lin Fei was purely using close combat techniques. 2 giants collapsed consecutively. Then the third one collapsed. In the blink of an eye, all the giants collapsed. Seems like your small test is useless. You should show me some real skills. Otherwise, I'm afraid you'll lose badly." Poseidon obviously didn't expect to use such giants to suppress his opponent. The possibility of that was very low. Your physical body is indeed very strong. To be able to block this move, you are indeed qualified to fight me. Then I'll let you use another move. Let's see if you still have the ability to do so." Instantly, a tornado came up from below. In the blink of an eye, Lin Fei was trapped in the tornado. The tornado turned into an endless stream of attacks. The attacks that covered the sky didn't stop at all. It was all the power of the seawater. Every drop of the seawater turned into an attack. This move became very terrifying. Even Lin Fei had to admit that this move's killing power was indeed very strong. It gathered the power of the entire ocean. Every drop had the strength of a 9 stars war god. It wasn't far from the invincible war god level. Even a 9 stars war god would be injured and vomit blood in an attack like this. Bang, 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 bang. Every drop of water landed on Lin Fei's body. Every drop of water left a white mark on his body. These white marks increased and covered Lin Fei's entire body. This was the first time Lin Fei had encountered such a powerful technique. As expected of the ocean god, you are different. Even your attacks are so overbearing. It seems I made the right decision to fight you. The seawater did not cause any harm when it landed on his body. Only white marks were left behind. However, to the distant sea deity, he could easily grasp every attack. When he saw the marks left behind, he was secretly shocked. This fella's physical body was incomparably tough indeed. Even he couldn't cultivate out a physical body like this. He really didn't know what kind of cultivation technique this guy cultivated. Isn't his physical body a little too strong? The number of times he had used this method could be counted on one hand, because there was simply no one who could withstand it. This was also the reason why he did not leave the sea race. As long as they were in the sea god was an invincible existence. He was equivalent to an invincible god of war. But now, this guy could actually withstand his attack. It was indeed rare, but this was just the beginning. The strength would only get stronger and stronger. He didn't believe that this guy's physical body was that strong. Of course, he also hoped that this guy's physical body was as strong as possible. If that was the case, then his dream would come true. There was a pung. Lin Fei's body actually pierced through the tornado. He came out directly. In the blink of an eye, he was near the sea god. When his fists and legs landed, many ripples appeared. Then it shattered. "Your methods are really strong, but I am not a blockhead. I will stand there and let you hit me. I will let you have a taste of my strength." There was a wall of sound. He used the Great Cold Ice technique right away. The current Great Cold Ice technique was much stronger. Of course, it only froze the defenses for a short period of time. In that short period of time, Lin Fei's physical strength played a huge role in this battle. Lin Fei's fist punched towards the sea god's body. At that moment, the sea god's image shook, leaving only an afterimage. Then, another person appeared in the distance. With a single punch, Lin Fei blasted the illusory image away. "I told you that I am invincible in this ocean region." Walla walla. One figure after another condensed and appeared. These figures were exactly the same as the sea god. Even their auras were the same. In the blink of an eye, hundreds of sea gods appeared on the surface of the ocean. Do you see that? This is my ocean clone. If you have the ability, then kill me. I want to see how long you can kill for. All the sea gods spoke up at that moment. Their voices were orderly, and there was no difference at all. Following which, the ocean rumbled and a wave came crashing down. A hand grabbed down. This palm could easily crush everything. This move was already the strength of an invincible war god. That was right. The sea god had already used his invincible war god technique. He wanted to capture this fellow first. His techniques couldn't deal with this person, so he only had the strength of an invincible war god. Lin Fei raised his head and threw a punch at him. He wanted to see how strong this invincible war god was. With this punch, the seawater palm instantly spread out. It pressed down on Lin Fei's strength like a mountain. This punch only caused ripples to form on the seawater palm before it collapsed. He actually withstood it. The palm continued to press down. Lin Fei could already feel the impact on his body. He flipped, and many cracks appeared. Streaks of blood started to spread. This situation was much better than what Lin Fei had expected. Sea God, is this your combat strength? If this is your combat strength, then I can only say that it is too weak. It isn't as strong as I thought. Of course, it is enough to bully others. The palm got closer and closer. The cracks on Lin Fei's body increased. This was the strength of an invincible war god. The sea god had been paying attention. After all, the strength of this palm had indeed reached the strength of an invincible war god. He wanted to see how strong this fellow's physical body was. It seemed like it was within his expectations. He wasn't as strong as he had imagined. At least an invincible war god's technique could injure him. If even an invincible war god's technique couldn't injure his physical body, then it would be quite troublesome. Then you should take it first. Anyone can brag, but I don't have the strength. The palm was getting stronger and stronger. Suddenly, Lin Fei's palm met the attack head-on, colliding heavily with the invincible war god's attack. With a whoosh, a torrent swept out. The seawater beneath Lin Fei instantly evaporated. Lin Fei's body remained as still as a mountain, and the palm strike also dissipated. How is it? Not bad, right? Now it's my turn. Chapter 4903. The ferocious attack from before still couldn't do anything to Lin Fei. This made the sea god's expression turn extremely ugly. He controlled the power of the sea, but even the ferocious power just now couldn't make the other party's body collapse. It was as if he had an indestructible body. This was the scene that the sea god couldn't accept. When did the human race have such a powerful body refinement expert? In his impression, body refinement experts couldn't withstand a single blow. Under his powerful technique, they would be turned into ashes sooner or later. Swoosh! Lin Fei had already made his move. He directly used the so-called spiritual projection. For any physical body, it would definitely be top-notch. However, the sea god was the sea god after all. He was quite powerful. Layers of defense appeared in an instant. Every doppelganger was exactly the same, and it was impossible to tell them apart. Didn't you want to use a big move? Then let me see how capable you are. How dare you boast in front of me? I, the sea god, am not that easy to deal with. So many sea gods had appeared, and every one of them had the manifestation of his power and the aura of his soul. Not everyone could find him. The sea god's main body was also very cunning. He hid in the most inconspicuous place. He might not even be able to see clearly. However, in an instant, all the clones collapsed. The sea god's entire body shook. Then a figure appeared. I don't know how my move feels. Finding people is really, really easy for me. The sea god's figure quickly faded and appeared in the distance. Just a moment ago, he was already severely injured. Cracks appeared on his body. How did you find my main body? That's impossible. This is a secret technique of the sea race. Even human experts can forget about finding it. The sea god was really shocked at this moment. He didn't expect his body to be seriously injured by the other party. This move couldn't be expanded at all. Fortunately, he controlled the power of the sea. Otherwise, his body wouldn't have been stable just now. Didn't you say that my moves weren't powerful enough? That's why I came up with something more powerful. Now let's see how it tastes. Have you experienced what it means to taste it? Lin Fei smiled and stopped moving. The sea god also began to reveal a fearful expression. Even his fleshly body could not withstand a single blow from the other party. If he were to continue like this, his fleshly body would definitely sustain more and more serious injuries. Youngsters nowadays are really powerful. Even my killing move can't do anything to your face. Forget it, let's call it a draw. How about it? As soon as the sea god's voice fell, Lin Fei's figure once again penetrated the sea god's body. Once again, it was a mental projection. Nothing much. Then he instantly launched a fierce offensive. Between his punches and kicks, layers of power burst forth. The void exploded in an instant. Even though the sea god's defense covered the sky, it was still penetrated by Lin Fei. That was just the beginning. Now it's time to warm up. I haven't even beaten you up to my heart's content. So how can I stop? Don't you think so? At least we're out, and you're an invincible god of war. No matter what, you have to show the demeanor of an invincible expert. Lin Fei laughed. Rays of light instantly exploded from the sea god's body. The light was filled with divinity. It directly bombarded Lin Fei's body. This time, Lin Fei did not dodge at all. He directly took the light head-on. His hands didn't stop moving and landed on the sea god's body once again. Lin Fei advanced while the sea god retreated. They kept retreating. The seawater kept collapsing. No one was more helpless than the sea god. He had never thought that he would encounter such a powerful guy. The feeling of being punched was really unbearable for his body. Even if he wanted to escape, the other party would instantly catch up. His speed was unparalleled. As they went back and forth, the two of them fought hundreds of millions of miles away. Their methods were really simple, one attacking and the other defending. The sea god wanted to attack, but he didn't have the time. Lin Fei's methods were too intense. He didn't stop at all, and his strength seemed endless. What was frightening was the opponent's ultimate move. It could casually pierce through his body. This made him feel what terror was. What do you want? Could it be that you want me to bring you down together with me? I am the sea god. Punch after punch. The sea god's face was already swollen. His fleshly body split open. Cracks appeared on his body, and blood flowed down from the cracks. His face turned a little white. The sea god could only defend passively. This was even using all his defensive strength. But the strength of his fists was really terrifying. He could even feel that a portion of his strength had been weakened. This was the most shocking thing. Just what kind of background did this guy have? Another punch was thrown at him. The sea god blocked, but this time the power on Lin Fei's fist exploded and his strength increased by a huge amount. Instantly, it pierced through the sea god's body. His physical body exploded with a bang. Then, the sea god's body condensed once again in the distance. His aura became much weaker. He opened his arms to block. Wait, you won this time. I won't pursue the matter of you entering the treasury anymore. How about it? Could it be that you want me to fight to the death with you? Then come at me. I still have a lot of confidence. The sea god didn't want to fight this fellow anymore. The other party's fists were simply too ferocious. It was truly impossible to defend against such a person. If not for him grasping the power of the ocean race and having the strength of an invincible war god, he would probably be killed right away. He was afraid that he would be beaten to death in front of the other party. He wouldn't even be able to withstand it. When did such a terrifying fellow appear? The sea god decided not to attack anymore. Even though he still had some treasures that could unleash great power, the sea god didn't have much confidence. Even if he used it, if he couldn't do anything to this fellow, he would be the one to suffer. He might as well see if he could negotiate again. After the fight just now, Lin Fei was indeed a little more confident in his own strength. The pseudo-invincible war god, sea god, was indeed very strong. His defense was also very strong. This kind of person was perfect to test the strength of his body. The strength that Lin Fei could unleash was definitely at the level of a 9-star war god. He could even go one step higher and reach the level of a pseudo-invincible war god. Even a 9-star war god wouldn't be his match. He could kill them right away. Then you can continue, but I need something. If you have it, then let's stop. If you don't, then don't hold back. Let's continue. I can't do anything else but recover quickly. Chapter 4904. Of course, Sigurd didn't want to continue fighting. To him, there was no benefit to continuing. Instead, his body would get more and more injured. For example, when he flipped over just now, his physical body had exploded once. Of course, to him, it was just an injury. If he exploded more times, then he would definitely be killed by the opponent. Even if he could mobilize all the power in the ocean, it would be useless. Then just say what you want. As long as I can take it out, I will naturally give it to you. If you force me too much, then I will fight you to the end. I don't believe that your body can be that strong. After that fight, to Lin Fei, it didn't consume much energy at all. This was the benefit of having a strong body. It was a normal method. It would be different if it was a large area. It's nothing. I'm just interested in faith power. I've studied faith power for a long time. I think you should be able to take it out. Don't tell me you don't have it. If you don't, then I'm sorry. I've decided to continue. With such combat power, Lin Fei didn't have anything to worry about. It all depended on whether or not this guy would give it to him. He had a feeling that Sea God should have taken in a lot of faith power. Things like this were dispensable and of little value to him. The Sea God definitely had a collection of them. He should have killed quite a few otherworldly war gods in his hands. The Sea God was very surprised. He was already prepared to be ripped off by the other party. After all, this guy was too hard to deal with. He finally understood why he dared to come to this place. The other party's strength was indeed formidable. You actually want faith power. Do you want to use faith power to break through from the war god realm to the invincible realm, and then become a lower god from this realm? Sea God couldn't help but exclaim. Such a method could be considered an alternative method, but no one had ever practiced it, because it was too difficult. He didn't expect this person to use such a method, using faith to become a god. Why do you care what method I use? I'm just asking if you have it. If you don't, then I'll do it. Lin Fei snorted coldly. This was also the reason why Lin Fei dared to say it. No matter who heard it, their imagination would run wild. Even the sea god was the same. In fact, that was indeed the case. I'll give it to you. The sea god was glad that he still had some power of faith. These were all useless things that he had placed there. If this guy hadn't mentioned it, he wouldn't have remembered it for a while. Balls of faith power flew over just like that. All the power of faith fell into Lin Fei's hands. The value of each of them was much higher than the ones in the treasury. Now Lin Fei was even more satisfied. Not bad, not bad. As expected of an overlord, you have collected so much power of faith. If so, let's end this battle. After all, there won't be any good days if we keep fighting. Don't you think so? Lin Fei laughed. In the blink of an eye, the power of faith was converted into honor points. The sea god heaved a sigh of relief. As long as they didn't continue fighting, it would be fine. Right now, he just wanted to find a place to recover from his injuries. It was really difficult to deal with this guy. By the way, Hai Wuxin is my man. I don't think you will punish him. If I find out that Hai Wuxin doesn't have a good life in the sea folk, I don't mind coming to the sea folk again. At that time, it won't be as simple as fighting for a while. Lin Fei didn't forget about Hai Wuxin. Although he wouldn't take him away, he had to let him have a good life here. The sea god didn't know why this guy said that. No matter what, he knew how to answer. Wuxin is my son. It's his honor to work for you. I definitely won't do anything to him. He's still Hai Wuxin, still my son, and still has a position in the sea folk. That's what you said. If I come back and see that Hai Wuxin doesn't have a good life, I will do it again. This was something that Lin Fei could do. Whoosh! Lin Fei disappeared from the surface of the sea. The sea god couldn't sense how he left. In his heart, he was secretly startled. Sure enough, this guy's methods were much more powerful than he had imagined. He couldn't sense such a person. If he came to the sea folk, it would definitely be a big problem. It seemed that he had to go into seclusion and try to break through and become a real invincible god of war. Lin Fei used greater teleportation to return to his original location. He saw Hai Wuxin. When Hai Wuxin saw the senior who had returned, his face lit up with joy. The people outside also saw the figure and they were all shocked. Could it be that something happened to father? Everyone was uneasy, but they didn't dare to say anything. The person who could fight with His Majesty was definitely on the same level. They didn't dare to offend someone who could come back first. Lin Fei closed the door with a wave of his hand. I've already fought with your father. Senior will definitely win. Hai Wuxin still had a certain level of insight. She had really guessed it. His heart was filled with ecstasy. He finally had a thick thigh to lean on. I'm going to leave the sea folk. Before I leave, I'm going to take away the thing I left in your body. I've already told the sea god that even if I'm not here, he won't do anything to you. At the same time, I'll leave you a bit of power. This power will allow you to kill a 9-star peak war god. I'll leave you 3 of this power. After all, you've helped me a lot. Hai Wuxin was shocked. Senior is going to leave. Luckily, he left me 3 powers that can kill a 9-star peak war god. This is definitely the biggest reward. With this kind of power, even a 9-star war god would have to be polite to him, unless he wanted to be killed. Thank you, Senior. Thank you, Senior. What do you want me to do? Even now, Hai Wuxin didn't dare to have any thoughts. Just like before. It's nothing much. If you want, just pay attention to the power of faith for me. Lin Fei extended his hand and grabbed out, pulling out the power seed. He put it away. It quickly turned into 3 streams of power and floated in front of Hai Wuxin. The 3 streams of power quickly entered his body. He was even more impressed by Senior Wu Yu. Hai Wuxin was able to easily control these 3 streams of energy and unleash an extremely powerful might at any time. When he raised his head, the senior was already gone. I need to train hard and increase my strength as soon as possible. Only then can I follow Senior's footsteps. Chapter 4905. Lin Fei teleported a few times and left the sea area. Lin Fei did not dare to let his guard down in this sea area. After all, the sea god had suffered a loss. Although he had given out the power of faith, who knew what was wrong with his brain? If he came up with any ideas, it would be quite troublesome. After all, if the sea god really wanted to die together with him, although Lin Fei was very confident in his physical body, it was difficult to guarantee that the sea god's method would be very dangerous. Hence, he chose to end things peacefully. Anyway, it was enough for Lin Fei to get the power of faith. He left the sea area. Lin Fei heaved a sigh of relief when he returned to land. After a few more teleportations, Lin Fei came to a deep mountain. There were a few strong auras in this deep mountain. Lin Fei did not care about them. He just released a little of his physical strength and crushed all the way. Then the auras became quiet. Lin Fei knew that they were afraid of his physical strength and became obedient. This was naturally what Lin Fei wanted to see. I can take advantage of this time to upgrade the remaining infinite divine body. I can also rest for a period of time. For Lin Fei, this trip was very rewarding. At the very least, his infinite divine body had been greatly improved. Such an improvement made Lin Fei very satisfied. This improvement made Lin Fei's infinite divine body several times stronger. After all, the power of faith obtained from the sea god was very rich. In other words, the war god he killed was more ferocious. This was also the reason why it was so rich. Compared to the previous power of faith, it was indeed on a different level. It was a top-grade power of faith. It seems that the effect of the power of faith this time is beyond my imagination. I didn't expect my infinite divine body to be upgraded to the 75th level in one go. It's a huge improvement. Even Lin Fei was extremely shocked at this time. To be honest, he did not expect that the power of faith he obtained from the sea god would allow him to rise to the 75th level in one go. Every time he leveled up, his fleshly body would undergo a huge transformation. Every time he leveled up, his strength would also increase greatly. Now that he had reached the 75th layer, Lin Fei could clearly feel how powerful his physical body was. Right now, he was a genuine, invincible god of war. Of course, even if an invincible war god was in front of him, Lin Fei would still be able to beat him to the ground or even kill him. This was because his invincible god of war wasn't something that other invincible gods of war could compare to. The current Lin Fei was equivalent to several everlasting war gods. Although he hadn't really fought against an invincible god of war, he had only fought against the pseudo-invincible god of war, the sea god. Lin Fei had a rough idea. At the very least, he would be fine if he were to encounter 7 or 8 invincible war gods at the same time. Ding! Congratulations to player Physical Body Stage 75. Special Faith Quest activated. Do you accept? The system, which had been silent all this while, actually made a move again. Lin Fei was a little surprised. He had given himself a quest. It was a faith quest, which was quite rare. Will there be any rewards for accepting this faith quest? Lin Fei didn't directly accept this faith quest. He had to ask properly, lest he was cheated by the system. One had to know that the system sometimes cheated people without blinking an eye. If you accept this faith quest, once you complete it, you will receive a large amount of power of faith as a reward. Lin Fei's heart was moved. One had to know that it wasn't that easy to find some power of faith in this world. As he continued to level up, Lin Fei felt that it would be even more difficult. Now that a faith quest had popped up, Lin Fei felt that it was quite useful. At the very least, once he completed the quest, he would receive the power of faith as a reward. This was much more convenient than running around by himself. Then I'll accept this quest. Lin Fei wanted to see how difficult this faith quest was. He couldn't possibly say that he had reached the death level. If that was the case, then the system would be a bit of a scam. Ding! Faith quest activated. Control the first level of the great world of the gods. Obtain the reward of increasing your physical body by 30 layers. Of course, Lin Fei knew that the great world of the gods had a total of 3 levels. Right now, he was only at the first level. The strongest was at the invincible war god level. It was said that those who surpassed the invincible war god level could only be considered ordinary in the next level. He didn't expect to receive such a quest. This quest was really difficult. However, when he thought about the reward of completing this quest, Lin Fei was a little tempted. Of course, Lin Fei knew that the higher the levels, the harder it would be to increase them. Now that he could obtain 30 layers in one go, it was really tempting. Fortunately, this quest didn't have a time limit. It was also a chance for him to relax. If that was the case, it wouldn't be like this now. It would definitely put a lot of pressure on Lin Fei. Wanting to control the first level of the great world of the gods was quite stressful for Lin Fei. The entire continent was divided into 4 parts. Right now, Lin Fei was in the Jiangnan region. In the middle was the central continent, and at the top was the northern wasteland. Therefore, if he wanted to conquer them one by one, he would need a lot of time. Of course, this was no different from when Lin Fei agreed to that senior's quest. Taking control of this continent seemed to be a double reward. Looks like I still need to obtain faith power and complete quests. Let's start from the Jiangnan region. After thinking for a while, Lin Fei decided to start from the Jiangnan region. There were indeed many experts in the Jiangnan region. He should be able to obtain a lot of faith power here. The Great Tang Empire shouldn't have much faith power. There were also the Great Qin Empire and the Great Manufacture Empire, these 2 powerful empires. Lin Fei naturally wouldn't miss such a good opportunity. Swoosh! Lin Fei left the mountain range and went directly to the Great Tang Empire. When he was halfway there, Lin Fei discovered that the entire Jiangnan region seemed to be a little different. The 3 superpowers seemed to be preparing for a huge war. Soldiers were being mobilized everywhere. If it was just one city, it would be normal. However, every city was basically the same. Lin Fei knew that a war was about to break out in Jiangnan. Could it be that something had happened? On the way, Lin Fei realized that war was unavoidable. Once again, he arrived at the Great Tang Empire. Lin Fei suddenly furrowed his brows. He could sense a sinister power. It's in my southeast direction. It's not far, only a few 100,000 kilometers. Chapter 4906. On the way to the Great Tang Empire, he reached the border. Lin Fei actually felt an evil aura. This evil aura was very obvious, like the moon in the night. It was so obvious that it was hard not to notice it. Lin Fei directly went in this direction, which was a distance of hundreds of thousands of kilometers. This was a very quiet small village with a very leisurely atmosphere. However, Lin Fei could feel an evil aura here. This evil aura was hidden in a very deep place. Lin Fei came down. He could feel that these evil auras came from the village in front of him. There were no experts in this village. When Lin Fei came over, they were all villagers, so there was no problem at all. This made Lin Fei quite curious. He didn't expect that such a place could be occupied by demons. "Young man, what are you doing here? Are you here to look for someone?" By the time Lin Fei arrived, some people had already surrounded him. Their expressions were very natural, as if they were asking about Han Fei. Lin Fei suddenly sneered. "I feel that your village is a little different, so I came to take a look. I think there should be no mistake." "How can our village be different?" "Young man, you should be mistaken." A person who looked like the leader came over. The evil aura on his body was even stronger. "There's no need to hide. I know you have an evil aura on you. Just show your true form." Lin Fei gently stomped his feet. There was a rumble. A wave of physical strength swept out, and the surrounding villagers were instantly defeated. In midair, all of them had turned into demons. That's right, they were demons. Demons in human form. They exuded a fierce aura. They directly pounced on him. Each of them took out their weapons and slashed at him with streams of light. Lin Fei snorted coldly. All the demons instantly collapsed, leaving only the guy who looked like the leader. Lin Fei reached out and grabbed him. This person's entire body erupted with demonic divine light, but he still couldn't withstand Lin Fei's casual grab. He easily caught it in front of him. "If you don't want to die, behave yourself. Why are there so many demons here? Tell me, where did they come from?" Lin Fei had never encountered such an aura since he came to Jiangnan. He didn't expect to encounter the aura of a demon here. The strength of this demon was not weak. It was estimated that the people in this village had been wiped out by them. Then they transformed into the villagers. If it wasn't for the demonic aura on his body, not everyone would be able to detect it. The demon instantly transformed into its original form. However, it was still useless. Lin Fei directly squeezed it to death. "If I were you, I would be honest." Lin Fei tightened his grip. Cracks appeared all over the demon's body. In an instant, he was covered in blood. "Don't kill me. I'll tell you, all right? I'm the vanguard under the general. We crossed the crack and came to the great world of gods to invade this place. We're just the first batch of vanguards." This situation made Lin Fei frown slightly. Now that even demons were here to cause trouble, his mission would not be easy to complete. Originally, Lin Fei thought that he would be able to obtain this reward after conquering the entire great world of gods. Now that demons had appeared, wouldn't it mean that they were sharing the reward with him? This was definitely something that Lin Fei couldn't allow to happen. "I'm not the only demon vanguard like us. There are many other demon vanguards coming here. Seeing that you're quite strong, why don't I introduce you to the general? I guarantee that you'll be able to enjoy wealth and splendor." As soon as he finished speaking, the demon vanguard immediately turned into a puddle of blood. It no longer existed. How could Lin Fei give this guy any chance to talk nonsense? Then, another force crushed the entire village. In an instant, the entire village was turned into ashes. Not a single person remained. Lin Fei furrowed his brows slightly. To be honest, this was not good news. The demons had come through the crack. He really did not know how they managed to get here. It seemed like the demons were involved in the war between the three empires. The demons had probably contacted the Great Qin Empire or the Great Zhao Empire. They were preparing to turn the Jiangnan region into a base camp. Lin Fei's thoughts turned quickly. Other than this explanation, he really could not think of another one. Then Lin Fei left. Then he sensed the auras of a few demons. Some were strong, some were weak. However, this time, Lin Fei did not care about them. To him, it was enough as long as he knew that there were demons. He was prepared to see what the Great Tang Emperor wanted. Not long after, Lin Fei arrived at the Great Tang Empire. He arrived at the Great Tang Empire. Lin Fei's eyes narrowed slightly. Damn, he could actually sense the aura of demons here. It seemed that there were demons here, and they were hidden very well. If one was not especially strong, they would not be able to sense them at all. Lin Fei arrived at the imperial palace of the Great Tang Empire without much trouble. As soon as he arrived at the palace, a figure came out. It was none other than the Great Tang Emperor. At this moment, the Great Tang Emperor was very happy to see Lin Fei return. He had always been worried that something would happen in the merfolk. After all, the sea god was not someone to be trifled with. He was also an invincible war god, although he was only a pseudo-invincible one. However, this level of strength wasn't something that just anyone could withstand. I knew that little brother would come back safe and sound. The Great Tang Emperor smiled. To him, it was the best that he could come out. This was a high-end combat power. I just came out, but I feel that your three empires are a little different. Are you going to start a big war? The Great Tang Emperor smiled bitterly. This is actually strange because the Great Qin Empire is the one to start the war. I don't know what the Great Qin Empire is thinking. They are expanding crazily, and they even seem to have reached a partnership with the Great Zhao Empire. It is really rare. This made Lin Fei frown again. It was indeed not good news. The two empires were going to attack the Great Tang Empire. I also saw traces of demons. Mentioning this, the emperor's face became even uglier. These are indeed troubled times, Yuzichin said. Chapter 4907. Lin Fei was indeed quite surprised by this turn of events, so he wanted to hear the Tang Emperor's explanation so that he could have an idea of what was going on. He knew that the Great Tang Emperor definitely knew what was going on with these demons. Now that the Great Qin Empire and the Great Zhao Empire had joined hands, this was even more unusual. It was impossible for the demons to attack the great world of the gods. If they attacked, the situation would be much worse than Lin Fei had imagined. This was not a good thing. You also know that the great world of the gods is very different. The Great Tang Emperor invited Lin Fei into his study. He began to speak. Lin Fei listened quietly. A long time ago, the demons were the natives of the great world of the gods. They were very powerful. We humans came later and lived here. In the end, we chased all the demons away. However, the demons were not satisfied. Although they were all sent into the endless abyss, some of them would come out from time to time. The seal back then had already begun to loosen, so these demons would appear from time to time. The information I received was even simpler. A powerful demon god has appeared among the demons in the endless abyss. The Great Tang Emperor's tone became more serious. This demon god is temporarily unable to come to the great world of the gods. However, he already has the strength to open the passage. What you see now is only a part of it. Before long, demons will appear continuously in the great world of the gods. Lin Fei understood that the situation was much more serious than he had imagined. If they allowed this to continue, the entire great world of gods would belong to the demons. The other party had even become a demon god. He had probably surpassed the level of an invincible war god. He was definitely a top-notch expert. If he stepped into the great world of the gods, it would definitely be very troublesome. The Great Zhao Empire and the Great Qin Empire seem to be in contact with the demons. Although there is no news that they are in contact, they are more or less connected. Now they want to attack the Great Tang Empire because there is a passage to the demons in the Great Tang Empire. I have already sent experts to guard it. Lin Fei finally understood why the Great Qin Empire and the Great Zhao Empire had joined hands. It seemed that they were prepared to make Jiangnan even more chaotic. Using enemies to eliminate the experts of the Great Tang Empire was indeed a very cost-effective deal. Of course, this would cause the great world of gods to descend into war. After all, the demons were not easy to negotiate with. One could imagine what it was like for a village to be completely wiped out. Lin Fei did not have a good impression of such demons. The situation is indeed quite bad. The Great Qin Empire and the Great Zhao Empire have joined forces to attack the Great Tang Empire. What are your plans? It would have been fine if Lin Fei didn't have the previous mission. No matter how they fought, the situation was completely different with the addition of the devil race. The fleshly bodies of these demons were quite strong. Of course, it was nothing to him, but to the people from the great world of gods, it was definitely a terrifying nightmare. Not only did Lin Fei have to deal with the local experts, but he also had to deal with the demon race. Moreover, it seemed that if he wanted to take down the first layer of the great world of gods, he would have to deal with the demon race first. I hope fellow Taoist Lin can cooperate with us. The Great Tang Emperor did not stand on ceremony. Everyone knows your strength. If you join us, the Great Tang Empire will have the confidence to defend itself. This was indeed the Great Tang Emperor's plan. It would not be a good thing if the two empires attacked together. Not everyone would be able to stop them. However, if fellow Taoist Lin joined us, the situation would be completely different. He would be able to greatly influence the two empires. As long as fellow Taoist is willing to help me, when the Great Tang Empire conquers the two empires, I don't need their power of faith. I will help you collect all of it. I can even build a faith statue for you in the empires to collect the power of faith. Lin Fei really cared about the power of faith. Currently, his infinite god body had already reached the 60th layer. This was already a terrifying number, but it would be difficult to increase it in the future. If he could obtain a large amount of power of faith, then it would be a different story. The Great Tang Emperor spoke again. I also heard that the demon race has a trace of demon power in their bodies. This trace of demon power is said to have a certain connection with the power of faith. It might be of help to fellow Taoist Lin. This news surprised Lin Fei a little. He had killed these demons before, but these demons seemed to be a little different. He did not sense any demon power in their bodies. It seemed that their strength was too low. He believed the Great Tang Emperor's words. Since these demons had demon power, it was naturally a little different. I also heard that the demon race has always worshipped their top demon god. Therefore, there are naturally faith statues in their world. The Great Tang Emperor did not know what use Lin Fei had for the power of faith. He only felt that Lin Fei cared a lot about the power of faith. He probably wanted to use the power of faith to break through from the 9 stars war god level to the invincible war god level, and then from the invincible war god level to the lower god level. This was a path that could be taken. However, no one had ever succeeded because it was too difficult. Lin Fei asked an interesting question. Since the demon race wants to attack the great world of the gods, are they going to do nothing? Are they going to wait for them to occupy the first level before doing anything? Lin Fei did not explain too clearly, but the Great Tang Emperor already knew what was going on. He knew who he was talking about. If that's what you're talking about, then I can tell you that those people have never been too interested in us. Only by becoming an invincible war god and breaking through that barrier will they have an impression of you. Otherwise, the others will be completely indifferent. Even if this level is completely annihilated, they won't do anything. The Great Tang Emperor said coldly. Lin Fei did feel that they would come down to help. However, It seemed that this was not the case. This was not good news. However, Lin Fei did not think too much about it. I'm quite interested in dealing with them. However, the power of faith must belong to me, and the statues must be erected. Chapter 4908. Just like that, Lin Fei settled down in the Great Tang Empire. The Great Tang Emperor didn't announce anything to the outside world. Lin Fei's arrival seemed to come without a trace. The Great Tang Emperor also gathered all the power of faith in the country at the first moment. All the power of faith was given to Lin Fei. The power of faith didn't have much of an effect on Lin Fei. The infinite God body could increase by a single level from 60 to 61. It could only reach about 2/5 of the original. The mission to level up was a long way off. Hence, Lin Fei's current state of mind was quite stable. He could slowly gather the power of faith and finish this mission first. He already had the strength of an invincible god of war. More demons are coming. It seems like they are much stronger this time. I can go and see if they have the power of demons. If they do, I can find another way. Lin Fei could easily sense the demons' passageway in the Great Tang Empire. Even though there were many formations, they couldn't stop them. With a thought, Lin Fei came to the vicinity of the passageway. There were indeed many experts guarding this place. The moment Lin Fei came over, he revealed himself. There was a black hole in front of him that was connected to a mysterious void. Many shadows of demons rushed out from it. Surrounding him were several great formations that were constantly unleashing terrifying attacks. The attacks landed on these demons, and in the blink of an eye, a portion of them were killed. Of course, there were also demons that kept attacking. The Grand Formation was also constantly being consumed. With one look, Lin Fei knew what was going on. These demons really had some tricks up their sleeves. It seemed like they were prepared to use a large number of demons to consume the power of the formations. This way, they would be able to break through the formations. You lowly humans, hurry up and open the formations. Otherwise, when we kill our way over, we will kill all of you. Charge! Break this array for me. No matter how many arrays there are, they won't be able to stop us demons. More and more demons rushed out, followed by more and more huge creatures. These huge creatures were like cannon barrels. With loud rumbling sounds, balls of corrosive substances directly bombarded the array formation. In an instant, cracks appeared on the wall. Seeing this, the expressions of the surrounding Great Tang Empire experts changed. They realized that these demons were much smarter than they had imagined. They actually used such a method. If they were allowed to continue attacking, wouldn't it mean that the formation would be completely melted away? If he could melt one formation, he could melt all the other formations behind it. This was definitely not a good thing, nor was it a good sign. The experts of the human clan did not dare to rush in recklessly, because these demons didn't care about tactics at all. Instead, it was an all-out attack. In an instant, they would be suppressed by the number of demons, and they could not be more dead. With the arrival of Lin Fei, the experts of the Great Tang Empire also recognized him, and their expressions became incomparably respectful. They had already received the news that this was a guest invited by the Great Tang Empire, and he was very mysterious. They did not know their exact origins, but the Great Tang Emperor had already informed them. Seeing this guest was like seeing the Great Tang Emperor. All of you just guard outside. Without any permission, no one is allowed to go in and attack. They alone won't be able to rush in. Lin Fei said faintly and went straight out. Then he entered the passageway. When Lin Fei entered, the surrounding people secretly sucked in a breath of cold air. This place was filled with great demons. Don't look at the ordinary demons outside just now. In fact, there were some powerful demons hidden in the depths. They were all looking for an opportunity, and they were all quite smart. If the guest went in, wouldn't he be attacked by the other party? In fact, that was really the case. There were indeed some powerful demons in the depths of the passageway. They were wearing armor and holding weapons, and they just stood there coldly. They did not attack, and there were many demons standing behind them. They were all looking for an opportunity. Batches of demons went up to break the array formation. As long as they broke the array formation and found a trace of negligence, they would naturally have a chance to rush out. At that time, they would go on a killing spree and even completely occupy the cave entrance. This guy is quite bold. Who's going to take him down first? A tall, great demon with 2 horns on his head said coldly. A demon by the side took the initiative to stand out. He held a spear in his hand. I'll go take care of this guy. The demon instantly turned into a stream of light and charged forward. When Lin Fei came down, countless demons instantly charged forward. However, before they could get close to Lin Fei, they were instantly turned into puddles of blood. They could not withstand the attacks at all. Lin Fei did not make much of a move. At this moment, a stream of light directly came over. Lin Fei narrowed his eyes slightly and grabbed with his 5 fingers. Instantly, a wave of energy enveloped the body of this demon. This was a 6-star war god demon. His physical body was still very strong, and he could faintly resist Lin Fei's strength. For example, Lin Fei's current strength was unfathomable with a casual grab. There was a loud bang. The demon instantly turned into a puddle of blood. In this puddle of blood, Lin Fei felt a trace of different energy. He reached out and grabbed again. Just like that, a golden thread was grabbed out. Could this be the so-called power of the devil? Lin Fei did not know much about the power of the devil. However, after grabbing it, he felt that it should be the power of the devil. After all, this energy was indeed quite different. Lin Fei decided to try and see if he could absorb and refine this power of the devil. If that was the case, then it couldn't be any better. Ding! Discovered that the power of the devil can be absorbed and refined. Hearing this news, Lin Fei's heart instantly jumped. This was indeed good news. He did not expect these demons to bring him such a harvest. If it was something else, Lin Fei would not care much. However, this was different. Lin Fei decisively refined this trace of the power of the devil. Soon, Lin Fei understood that this trace of the power of the devil was about the same as the power of faith. In general, the power of faith was slightly higher, and the power of the devil was slightly lower. Originally, I did not have much thoughts about the demons. Now, it seems that I will wipe them out completely. I want to become the greatest enemy of the demon race. The corner of Lin Fei's mouth slightly curled up. He finally found something to do. Those big demons hiding in the innermost area can come out now. Lin Fei directly rushed down. Everywhere he passed, the demons exploded. Chapter 4909. Lin Fei charged forward. Along the way, there wasn't a single demon that could stop him. They were all killed. In the deepest part, demons could be seen coming out from the cracks from time to time. Lin Fei's gaze quickly locked onto a few demons. These demons were all at the War God realm. That's right. Only demons in the War God realm could be called great demons. Their eyes were cold and sinister as they stared at him. One of the demons waved his hand. In an instant, the surrounding demons surrounded and attacked. These demons were a little different from the demons from before. As soon as they made their move, their attacks were like scimitars coming towards them. It turned out that they were all close combat. Coupled with a certain speed, it was dazzling in an instant. I told you just now to come out obediently. Why did you have to make me come here personally? You really think too highly of yourselves. Lin Fei smiled. In the next second, he was instantly attacked by more than a dozen attacks. It turned out that these demons attacked him in an instant. Their speed was indeed fast. Moreover, the weapons in their hands weren't ordinary weapons. They were all divine weapons that were incomparably sharp. However, when it struck Lin Fei's body, it was like a flash of lightning. It was completely useless. On the contrary, Lin Fei's void collapse directly crushed them. One after another, The demons spat out blood. Cracks appeared on their bodies. Lin Fei instantly pounced on the nearest demon. A punch directly pierced through it. Then he turned around and smashed a second demon. These war god realm demons were in front of Lin Fei. At this moment, they were nothing. Saying that he was an ant meant that he was an ant. He could kill them easily, the kind that would kill as many as they came. With your strength, you guys still dare to barge into the human world. I really don't know who gave you the courage. These demons weren't a match for Lin Fei at all. A punch and a kick directly destroyed them. The heart of the demon in the distance trembled. He stared at this young man. He really couldn't believe that this guy's strength was so strong. He had killed the great demons so easily. One must know that when these great demons came over, their strength would be affected to a certain extent. However, their fleshly bodies were extremely tough. They wouldn't be destroyed so easily. But now they could clearly see that these great demons had been defeated, and they had been defeated very badly. Since when did the Great Tang Empire have an expert like you? The great demon snorted coldly and instantly attacked. Doppelgangers appeared around him. In the time it took for a face-to-face confrontation, Lin Fei was actually unable to block the attack of the great demon. The saber light exploded on his body. But just like before, this guy's divine weapon was also very powerful and sharp. However, it couldn't do much damage to Lin Fei. Your physical body is actually stronger than our great demons. This exchange caused the great fiend's expression to change. The power of the void around Lin Fei collapsed. The great demon's body emitted rays of divine light. When these divine lights clashed with the power of the void, they actually held on, allowing him to break away. However, as soon as he broke free, Lin Fei punched through his physical body in the blink of an eye. In such a short distance, there was no demon that could block it at all. Lin Fei's attack. This was the level of strength that his physical body had reached. In addition, Lin Fei already had a series of means to control space. Although it wasn't very profound within a certain range, it was really incomparably fierce. It seems that your physical body isn't very strong. You can't even block a punch from me. Then I'm sorry. Lin Fei blasted another punch over, and then the great demon turned into ashes. However, a relatively thick demonic power was left behind. Lin Fei was still quite satisfied. He kept the demonic power and then sat at the entrance. Rays of saber light directly slashed towards the distance. These demons that had just come out were directly killed. The experts outside cheered. The great demons that they were most worried about were actually killed just like that. This consecrator is still the best. To be able to block off these demons so easily. Yeah, if it weren't for the consecrator, we would be in trouble. These guys are really not easy to deal with. Lin Fei obtained demonic power from these demons. This also allowed Lin Fei to find a new way. As long as he killed high-level demons, he would be able to obtain the demonic power. With the demonic power, he could exchange it for the power of faith. With the honor points, he could level up. In that case, it was quite worth it. Lin Fei was prepared to stand guard here and see if there were any more demons coming. In fact, from time to time, some great demons would rush over. However, these great demons would have to recover their strength after rushing over. Therefore, Lin Fei didn't make a move directly. He waited for them to recover their strength before killing them one by one. This wait lasted for more than half a month. However, this wasn't good news for the demons on the other side. The demons that crossed over were directly killed. This caused the number of demons that Lin Fei could kill to decrease. In the end, some scattered demons appeared. Lin Fei frowned slightly. The situation wasn't right. The Great Tang Emperor came over. He had long since received the news that Lin Fei had killed the great demons here. This made him heave a sigh of relief. You're still the best. With you standing guard here, even the great demons were killed. At the very least, we can heave a sigh of relief. Lin Fei stood in front of the crack. He could vaguely see the existence of a world in the distance. That was the so-called Endless Abyss. There seemed to be a large number of demons in that place. Moreover, there were some high-level demons, great demons, and so on. It's a pity that I can't rush in and start a massacre. Otherwise, I can definitely let them know what fear is. They won't dare to move anymore. The great Tang Emperor laughed heartily. You didn't come here just to chat with me, did you? Did something happen again? Lin Fei asked. He didn't believe that the great Tang Emperor was just here to see him. After all, he could still guard this passage. Chapter 49:10. Lin Fei was very clear that the Tang Emperor definitely had something to discuss with him, and it was not a small matter. With him guarding the passageway, none of these demons would be able to get out. The big formation outside was not a joke, so the possibility of him talking to him was very high. The Tang Emperor smiled. There are still many forces in the Tang Empire, but there are a few forces that are making some movements now. I have something to keep an eye on the two empires, so I would like to trouble you to go to those sections. If they don't have any ideas, that's fine. If they do, please help me suppress them. The Tang Emperor was indeed busy. If it was a normal time, he would naturally have time. Now he had to keep an eye on the Great Qin Empire and the Great Zhao Empire. These two countries had already begun to take action, and they looked eager to try. If they were to make any movements, there would definitely be big trouble if he did not keep an eye on them. Therefore, he had to trouble Daoist Lin to deal with the internal affairs of the sections. He believed that Daoist Lin should be able to help him. By the way, I also heard that there are still some things on the side of the sects, such as the power of faith. They are all old sects that have been passed down for some time, so if you are lucky, you can still get some power of faith. Of course, the Tang Emperor knew what Daoist Lin liked. That was the power of faith. Had he already collected all the power of faith that could be collected? Some sects still had some places of faith. It was still useful for them, because some methods and supernatural powers required the power of faith. But now he felt that the power of faith should be obtained by Lin Fei himself. If there was nothing else, Lin Fei would definitely not be interested in it. But when he heard that there was the power of faith, he instantly became spirited. No matter what, he had to go and take a look at the power of faith. No problem, I'll take care of this. Just give me a list of the sects, and I'll go take a look. However, I'm a hot-tempered person, so don't get angry if I destroy the entire sect. Lin Fei smiled. The Tang Emperor smiled again. How can I not be happy? After all, those guys are not good people. They are all traitors. It would be best if you can destroy them. Lin Fei knew that the great Tang Emperor probably had some thoughts about these sections. Otherwise, he wouldn't have asked him to come forward. After all, if the Emperor of the Great Tang went there, he would have to explain. But if he went, it would be completely different. A scroll flew over and landed in Lin Fei's hand. These are all sects and forces within the Great Tang Empire. Among them, the 4 great sects are the most powerful. They have also collected a lot of faith power. If you take them down, you might have a big surprise in store for you. The moment he said that, he knew. The Tang Emperor really wanted to kill them. Lin Fei didn't say anything as he teleported out of the passageway. There were still many sects within the Great Tang Empire. Some were strong, while others were weak. The 4 major sects were the strongest. They had contributed a lot to the establishment of the Great Tang Empire. So much time had passed, and many unforeseen events had occurred. Lin Fei didn't have to guess to know that the 4 major sects must have some thoughts about the Tang Emperor. That was why the Tang Emperor wanted to kill them. No matter what thoughts they had, it didn't matter to Lin Fei. He only needed the power of faith. If he had the power of faith, it would definitely be enough for him to make a trip. Lin Fei went straight to the first sect. This sect was located in the mountains, and it was called the Myriad Mountains sect. This sect was a little overbearing. When Lin Fei came over, he could feel the formation. At the same time, Lin Fei narrowed his eyes slightly. He actually felt the aura of a demon in the Myriad Mountains sect. It was a great demon. This great demon seemed to be a lot stronger than the great demon he had encountered in the passageway. This time, it was Lin Fei's turn to be a little surprised. It seemed that the intelligence department of the Tang Emperor was also very powerful. He estimated that they had received a lot of news. It could only be said that the Myriad Mountains sect was going to be unlucky. Lin Fei actually felt the aura of the great demon. There was no doubt that the Myriad Mountains sect must have contacted the great demon. He was afraid that the Myriad Mountains sect was going to cooperate with the great demon. It was really a traitor. Of course, it was also possible that the Tang Emperor had other ideas. He probably wanted to destroy all the major sects in the empire and integrate all the forces. Such a situation was also possible. Of course, this had nothing to do with Lin Fei. He came here for the power of faith. It was that simple. Now that he had sensed the aura of the great demon, he had more reason to take action. It was not difficult to be a knife. Lin Fei preferred to be straightforward. Lin Fei teleported directly into the Myriad Mountains sect. No one noticed the sudden appearance of such a person. Lin Fei went straight to the hall. In the hall, several high-level members of the Myriad Mountains sect were sitting together and drinking tea. There was a great demon among them. Of course, he looked no different from ordinary experts. His realm was not low. He was an 8-star war god. It was very high, because the other high-level members were 8-star war gods or 7-star sections. Even the sect master was only a 9 stars war god. Someone came in. He should be an expert. The great demon was the first to find him. His expression changed slightly. He looked around. There was a fluctuation in the void. Then Lin Fei walked out. "I'm sorry to disturb you. I'm here to deal with something. Have you seen this thing?" He waved his hand. A token robe floated in the air. It was given to Lin Fei by the Tang Emperor. With this thing, it represented the Tang Emperor. The token floated in the air and appeared in front of everyone. Everyone was shocked. Of course, they knew what it was. "Why is the personal token of the Tang Emperor in your hands? Who the hell are you?" The sect master of the Myriad Mountains sect was the first to recognize it. He was the most familiar with this thing because he had seen it before. But now it was in the hands of a young man who he had never seen before. "I'm a minister of the Tang Empire. Today, I'm here to deal with a small matter." The sect master breathed a sigh of relief when he heard that he was a minister of the Tang Empire. It seemed that he was a little young.